A brand new day blasts into life at Explorer Academy. A young man steps up, chest out, and proudly flaunts his brand new mark. His friend watches, rocking between awe and nerves, wearing a shaky, impressed smile. The blonde kid yanks him in and smothers him in a warm, friendly hug. But his words slither out like a cruel, condescending whisper. That friendly act cracks instantly, like it was never real. He leans back and thinks about how dungeons and their levels reshape the whole world, building a whole scheme where he's the final, ultimate target. Suddenly, a voice slices right through his thoughts. Guy taunted him right in front of the whole class, leaving him nowhere to hide. Our boy only manages a shaky little smile, thin hope clinging to it like it might be his last lifeline. They keep shoving his reality in his face level 0, and it's never letting up. He clings to the thin, burning hope that everything's about to change. But every spark of hope in him just pours gasoline on Guy's rage. This isn't the first time he's been thrown into the fire torments already hunted him before. That one number has been running his whole life like a countdown. He stepped into this brand new school with one dream burning in his chest, a total fresh start. But somehow that old bully tracked him down and showed up here too. And just like that, boom, his secret blew wide open. A blimp glides overhead, booming out the daily rankings to everyone below. A blazing list of the top 100 explorers, the real heroes who owned their era. He's got his sights set on joining them, but deep down he knows they'll never take him in. Right then, the whole crowd's attention gets yanked away. A figure so impossibly graceful sweeps right past them. Everyone's left frozen in shock, like their brains just hit a brick wall. It's the strongest kid in the whole school, yep, Hinata. An S-rank prodigy, already a living legend in these halls. She's the Kamui family's heir born into power so massive it practically hums with danger. The bell blares, and suddenly it's time for everyone to stand up and blast their introductions. And it hits him, his brand new deskmate is the real prodigy. Yeah, and now he's got to keep his cool. He can feel those dagger-like stares drilling into the back of his head. The teacher points at the next student and calls for their introduction. She stands her ground, voice steady and crystal clear, Kamui Hinata. Her simple, powerful presence drops the whole class into stunned silence. A few students huddle in whispers, begging to know if that's really all she's going to drop. The teacher looks a little rattled, then pushes everything forward at breakneck speed. It's finally our boy's moment. He blurts his name like a shout from the rooftops, Suzuki Hinata. The classroom explodes in chaos, another Hinata. Tell me how the odds even work out like that. He fumbles through a nervous explanation, admitting that the terrible coincidence of sharing her name just can't be explained away. Kamui Hinata just stares back cold, silent, and terrifyingly unblinking. That same day, the students finally roll up to their brand new home. He cranes his neck at the towering dorm building, and you can feel a brand new start bursting in the air. A voice blares out his full name, Suzuki Hinata. He whips around to face the dorm mother, Kiono. She shoves a rulebook into his hands and makes him feel, down to his bones, how deadly serious those rules are. He can't stop staring at those charming handmade illustrations inside. Clutching the rules like a lifeline, he storms inside, hunting down his room. He snaps back to memory right then. The welcome party for the new residents comes rushing in. The story cuts straight into the loud, lively dorm cafeteria. A bubbly girl at his table lights up and pitches the idea, let's form a party. She nods along with another boy, and they both agree because their ranks are right on top of each other. The girl whips her head toward him, like she's just now realizing he's even there. He pops in with a quick intro, then drops the bomb. He's an F rank. Every single head at the table snaps to stillness, and that bright, cheerful vibe instantly evaporates. The girl shoots an apology, saying it's super rare to bump into someone who's not an explorer around here. He's completely lost because wait, this is an academy built for explorers, not for someone like him. He can't believe they even let him in with a rank that low. He takes a slow sip, and that gloved hand hides exactly what he's really after. They break down the world's ranking system, starting at S and rolling all the way down to F. The girl tries to fire him up with encouragement, but her words only make him jump in shock. The girl steps in and tells everyone straight up, low potential doesn't make you weak. She hammers the point home rank isn't a cage, it's just proof of what you're capable of. But Hinata finally gets it. The real wall between him and true strength is the terrifying gap in levels. The other boy tosses him some hollow pep talk, about how hard work pays off. But the girl shoots back right away, insisting she's never seen an F-rank pull off a win. Hinata gets slammed with the brutal truth of his situation and can't look away. He's not just F-rank, he's the legendary level 0, the one people whisper about. Back in his room, he crumples onto the bed, completely wiped out. A message from his sister suddenly flashes on his screen, bursting with hope for the future she's chasing. He can't stand it. He told her to stay away for a while, and now he's hearing from her. He remembers the real reason he showed up. He's got to provide for his family, no matter what. At this rate, that dream is slipping out of reach, gone before you even get close. A sudden blaze erupts in his eyes. He jolts upright, and a brand new resolve surges through him. He can't stand the thought of looking at his sister as a failure, so he has to gamble everything and try something, anything. Clenching his phone in a death grip, he flat out refuses to let anyone else write his future. His eyes cut through everything, and his resolve is unbreakable. Suzuki Hinata finally bursts up to the entrance of an E-rank dungeon. Kyono, the dorm mother, pointed him to the closest spot for beginners, like she'd already decided that was where he'd start. She'd warned him, straight to his face out there, "You don't waste your life, because an explorer's days are worth more than gold." A promise he sealed with a smug, confident smile. He bursts into the dungeon's reception area. But the front desk is totally empty, no one's there, not a soul in sight. Suddenly, a figure shoots up from beneath the counter, and it makes him jump out of his skin. A nervous receptionist practically blurts, "Is this your first time?" as she reels him in. She spots his school uniform in a flash and snaps into action to hand him his license. But the second she looks, panic spikes. She can't find a single one of the items she needs. She tells him to wait, like this is just another perfectly normal day at work. His gaze snaps to one lone white orb sitting on the counter. A power crystal that reads your potential, then flashes and shifts colors the second your rank changes. He decides to test that crystal again just one more time, because he can't stop himself. The second his gloved fingers touch it, the orb snaps to pitch black darkness. Hinata locks eyes forward, his face set in stone with grim, unshakable intensity. Potential gets sorted by color, but black is what you get when every last trace of color disappears. That right there is level 0 in its purest form, total absolute 0 ability. He can feel that familiar suffocating despair closing in around him like a trap. A single thought crashes through the dark. Why the hell is it only me? Suddenly, a voice slices through his dark thoughts, and he jolts in pure shock. The receptionist reappears with a huge smile, announcing she's ready again, like, of all times, right now, what bad luck. She whips her head around the empty lobby, desperate to find where her customer vanished. With a heavy sigh, she decides he must have just run out of patience and walked away. But Hinata isn't just in trouble. Shadowy tendrils yank her down like they've got a grip on her soul. The ground under his feet suddenly drops away, opening into a bottomless, pitch-black abyss. He drops like a stone into a bottomless, terrifying void. Blind and totally lost, he flails through the dark, tumbling like he's falling out of reality. He slams down onto solid ground, and just like that, the fall is finally over. He wobbles into place, fully confused at first, then exhales in relief, finally standing on something solid. But all he sees is unbroken, impenetrable darkness closing in on every side. Far off in the night, a colossal, ominous castle looms in stark silhouette against the glittering stars. A system message blares out of nowhere. He just unlocked the dungeon information skill. The moment it kicks in, the skill locks onto his location, Lucifano's fallen heaven. He's stuck in a dungeon with a name so terrifyingly grand, it feels like it's mocking him. A fresh alert blares in his head. He just unlocked a perimeter scan. But the moment that new skill hits, a brutal headache splits his skull in two. He clutches his head as a brutal wave of mental pressure crashes into him. Right as he crumples to the ground, the system slams him with abnormal status resistance. The pain crashes down on him, but his brand new skill is already surging to the next level. He thrusts his hand into the dark, begging anyone, "Please help me." The skill keeps leveling up at an insane pace until it finally slams into its last perfect form. A status window flashes boom, turning the impossible into reality. He's now got abnormal status nullification. His eyes burst open, pure shock flooding his face as confusion crashes in. He snaps back onto his bed, sprawled in his dorm room. He jolts upright, stunned like maybe the whole ordeal was nothing but a dream. He lets out a breath of relief, convinced he'd just dropped dead in the dungeon. But the moment he tries to push himself up, he feels he's slammed onto the hard ground. The harsh truth slams in, he's still stuck in that dungeon. He's scrambling to remember what happened, what the voice sounded like, what skills he even used, and the whole thing still feels painfully real. A brand new system window pops up, handing him the skill list, turning that dream into something he can actually use. He squints at the list, baffled why on earth is he getting skills for free. He throws survival into overdrive and vows to track down an exit no matter what it takes. His perimeter scan skill turns out to be a lifesaver, basically giving him a mental map of everything around him. He realizes the air is poison, and his nullification power is the only shield keeping him alive. He stares into the pitch-black void, and that distant castle barely clings to view. Out of nowhere, dark vision snaps into place, and the whole forest erupts in eerie light, like the universe just started handing him cheat codes. He still remembers those trap warnings, but come on, E-rank dungeon figures can't be that deadly. His relentless search finally drags him to a tiny pitch-black pool of water. Overjoyed, he sprints straight toward that life-saving discovery that could change everything. Even with that hunger resistance, his throat burns and snaps dry, so he dips his hands in to quench it. He scoops up the liquid, freezes at the eerie color, then shrugs it off and moves on. No hesitation, he slams back a huge gulp like it's his only shot. The taste hits like a nightmare, and he regrets the decision the second it happens. No turning back. A system alert blares, and right in the middle of danger, his stamina recovery skill levels up and evolves. He snaps his head around, desperate to spot where the threat's hiding. Could it be a monster lurking nearby? But his perimeter scan comes up empty. No threats in sight anywhere nearby. He whips his gaze back to the pool, and a horrible thought crashes into his head. He puts his theory to the test, flinging a handful of the liquid onto the grass. The ground sizzles and buckles as it melts. He just chugged a whole pool of lethal poison. He realizes his nullification power just saved him again, and he vows to be way more careful from now on. He stands alone, swallowed by silent, towering trees that loom like a wall around him. Right in front of him, a towering cliff wall looms his next crushing obstacle, staring him down. He's been roaming for what feels like forever, and the exit is still nowhere to be found. Then it hits him, he never got his license, so yeah, he's technically breaking in. Suddenly, a shock of pure terror shot straight down his spine. A crushing weight closes in on him, like the air itself turns thick and suffocating. His instincts are screaming at him that something massive is right around the corner. He tightens his grip and braces for the dungeon's first monster to crash into him. But when he sees it, it shatters everything he ever feared, way past his worst nightmares. A hulking monster crawls out of the shadows, its mouth packed with teeth for days. Yeah, the E-rank welcome basket just got demolished. He can't even blink. What he's seeing is unreal. And this dungeon creature is nothing like the rest. The monster rumbles out a deep, guttural growl that pounds through the ground like thunder. He was ready for a goblin or a slime, and instead, the thing that showed up was a full-on walking apocalypse. He can't shake the feeling this looks like a floor boss or something way more twisted. So he just has to freeze in place and pray that thing passes him by. Then one careless step cracks the silence wide open. The beast's reptilian eye snaps straight toward the sound like it's being pulled by a string. Hinata's eyes go wide and "uh-oh" screams from his face in total silence. With a bone-chilling roar, the monster explodes forward and launches into the attack. He whips around and sprints off, adrenaline blasting through his veins like a wildfire. The earth shudders with every step of that monstrous pursuer. He screams that he finally understands, and then the dread hits, because this is a terrifying, hopeless situation. Right on cue, the system hands him the speed boost skill like a loaded weapon. The moment danger closes in, it ignites his brand new power right away. His speed shot up like the skill leveled to its medium stage. Now he's so fast he can bolt right up the sheer cliff wall like it's nothing. The beast can only roar in pure frustration, stuck watching him slip away. But he won't quit. He claws at the rock wall beneath him like his life depends on it. That non-stop threat forces his power to surge higher and evolve again, bigger than ever. He bursts into a full-on blur, vanishing into a streak of unstoppable speed. He slams down safely on the ground, miles away from the cliff's edge. And just to make sure things get wild, the skill levels up one final time, pushing into an extra-large form. He rockets through the forest so fast, he turns into nothing but a streak of motion against the trees. A system window flashes and tells him his skill has hit its ultimate absolute peak. Armed with this new power, he blasts through the dark forest like a force of nature. He finally drags in a breath, and for a second he thinks he's made it safe. But he finally gets it. Speed won't save him if he's still completely lost. He tears through the wild undergrowth and crashes into a clearing, and realizes his pursuer had been waiting for him the entire time. The beast's eyes ignite with a foul, predatory glow that feels straight from the dark. Hinata's gasping for air, and every door just slammed shut. She has zero options left. But despair snaps into a fierce, desperate determination. He finally realizes sprinting won't change a thing. Then he clenches his fists and thinks, maybe fighting is the only way. Teeth clenched hard, he throws caution aside and bets everything on this one shot. With a defiant roar blasting through the air, he rockets straight at the monster, chasing the one spot nobody with a shred of sanity would ever step foot in. And the second he commits to it, he realizes too late that it's the worst mistake of his life. The beast rockets into the sky, poised to smash him into nothing. It smashes into the ground like a meteor, ripping through everything in its path. But Hinata uses his blistering speed to slip right under the attack, like it never even touched him. He barely makes it out alive, gripping a brand new wound in his arm as he sprints for his life. He rockets through the air, snapping out of the path just as another lethal slash comes flying in. He hits the ground hard, the relentless chase finally taking everything out of him. His stamina is wiped out. He can't keep running much longer. But then the system slides him a stamina boost skill, and it supercharges his endurance. The monster rips the sky open with another earth-shaking roar. But it hesitates, and Hinata's like, "Wait, why did you stop?" He stares downward, and the moment he realizes he's teetering on the edge of something, his stomach drops. It's that same deadly poison pool again, the one that nearly killed him before. A wickedly brilliant idea starts brewing in his head, and it feels like trouble waiting to explode. He drives both hands straight into the toxic liquid. Poison in hand, he braces to flip the odds and crush the beast. Hinata digs in, refusing to back down as he stares down that colossal beast head-on. His hands are now drenched in that deadly liquid. A desperate, wild grin snaps across his face like a spark right before impact. The monster jolts back in fear, sensing danger closing in. With a defiant yell, he whips the poison through the air like a weapon. Toxic liquid erupts across the beast's hide, sizzling as it bites into its skin. He lands hard, realizing his gamble actually hit, then he spots it. It's frayed. But the monster shrugs him off and barrels toward the pool instead. That beast is not just picky. This new cologne makes it hate him on sight. Its gigantic claw drops like a meteor, screaming straight for the source to obliterate it. The attack whiffs, then the monster crashes straight into the pool, sending ripples flying. It thrashes like crazy, and the poison finally swallows it whole. Hinata belts out one last battle cry, pure determination blazing in his voice. The beast gets swallowed whole by a burst of searing flames all at once. Hinata just stands there, frozen in shock because his own victory hit him like a punch. He remembers that guides warning monsters don't fall until you stop looking for them. He flicks the final drop into the air, then confirms it's as potent as it gets. A tiny triumphant grin flashes across his lips. He realizes those monster remains might be the key he needs, and the system hands him monster dismantling like the universe's own delivery service just started working overtime for him. He snaps open his status screen and spots it an active skill, ready to be used. It's sitting on his list, all set to be pulled into action the moment he needs it. He leans in and rechecks his wild, stacked roster of passive skills. With a killer dramatic pose, he decides to put his brand new power to the test. A thick cloud of dust suddenly bursts up from the giant corpse. The monster gets obliterated in a blink, and suddenly it's reduced to perfectly stacked piles of resources. Hinata can barely contain his excitement, staring in awe at the mountain of materials he's managed to collect. He stares at those perfectly harvested bones like they're the answer to a nightmare. And there it was, those thick, tough hides stacked up beside them, ready to take a beating. Then he spots another strange thing hidden in the spoils. He grips a hulking magic stone so huge it dwarfs every single E-rank drop. He knows this stone is priceless, one of the key ingredients used to forge magic items. But now a fresh nightmare hits. How in the world are they supposed to haul this mountain of loot back home? He can't stop fantasizing about a magical backpack that swallows anything with infinite storage. Hope ignites in his eyes the second he even dares to think it. He can't stop daydreaming about how badly he wants a skill like that. But before he can even breathe in, that hope crumbles, and he shuts it down as nothing but an impossible wish. And boom, right when he needs it, the universe hands him spatial storage like it's answering a prayer. Ask, and it delivers, I guess. With this fresh power surging through him, he stares into the dark, looming forest like it's daring him to step closer. He yanks up his brand new inventory and stares at everything lined up nice and clean. With a grin twisting his face, he calls a gigantic bone out of thin air just to see if it works. He shoots it back in a blink, stunned by how effortless it all feels. Then he tries to bottle the poison water like a brand new experiment his mind can't stop chasing. But the power sputters out, and he's left staring in shock, trying to figure out where its limits end. He refuses to look back, then digs in and pushes forward. He's posted at the edge of the clearing, itching to push deeper into the unknown. Rage and exhaustion etched themselves into his grim face, like the battle had drained every last drop from him. Then, from the shadows, another set of eyes locks onto him, watching, waiting. Hinata snaps his gaze upward, and a terrifying chill shoots straight down his spine. He reels back the monster he just crushed, replaying every brutal moment. But then a brutal truth starts creeping into his mind. Those brutal words from his bully keep screaming in his head, 0 is still 0. Even after winning, a crushing, familiar despair crashes over him like a wave. A system message slammed down like a verdict. His worst fear was true, his level is still 0. He keeps moving, and then there it is, a tiny rabbit monster staring back at him. But the moment he steps up, his foot suddenly snags on something he can't see. He cries out in agony, and it hits him, he's messed up again. A swarm of tiny, spiky creatures suddenly crawls out of nowhere and blocks his way. The system bluntly tells him he's got trap detection and nullification. So yeah, that's exactly what he stepped on. The creatures don't hesitate for a second, they surge forward together in a blur of coordinated, relentless fury. Tiny creatures crowd in from every direction, swarming him like a living storm. He dodges a blade of lightning, so fast it feels like it missed reality. And just like that, the next one goes down with shocking ease. He realizes they're not just struggling, everything is moving painfully slow for them. At least he'd faced something worse than the last monster he fought. Thanks to that speed boost skill, he was suddenly flying. The whole world around him grinds to a crawl. Time doesn't move the same for him anymore, it's been completely flipped. He can read every opening in their attacks, like the moment they slip. With his fist clenched tight, he's ready to fight back, no hesitation, just pure determination. He finally throws a bone-crushing solid punch and lands it clean on one of the creatures. But his speed is blazing, not his strength, and the blow barely even lands. He swings again and again, hunting for that one weak spot he can finally crack. And then whoosh, another one drives right in, slamming squarely with its face. But the creature doesn't even flinch as the blows rain down. Hinata rips into a frustrated roar, pouring every last ounce of strength into it. And just like that, the system crowns his grind with a bare-handed combat boost. Yeah, of course it does. His next punch blasts the monster straight into a rock wall, sending it crashing hard. He stares at his fist, grinning like crazy because every ounce of effort is turning into real skills. He tears through yet another spiky attacker like it's nothing. Each new strike landed, and his confidence surged higher with every hit. His brand new skill rockets straight into martial arts, and this kid's learning curve shoots up like a straight vertical line. A massive, monstrous version of the creature rockets down from above to smash into the fight. But his body rockets on instinct, slipping him into emergency evasion before he even thinks. The system also slams on fear and pressure resistance, just to make sure they're pushed to the breaking point. His level might not be climbing, but he's still overflowing with gratitude for every new skill he's earned. He can feel it if he chokes right here. He'll be nothing but dead weight the moment a real party hits. And he hard rejects that future with everything he's got. He swears he'll snatch up every skill he can get his hands on. He lets out a thunderous roar, determined to turn every painful second of this ordeal into something that matters. He hurls the final creatures over the cliffside, launching them into open air. The fight finally ends, and all that's left is a silent, star-filled sky. He cracks open his inventory and sees it stuffed to the brim with bones, hides, and glowing magic stones. He picks up a stone and freezes it's way bigger than any normal one he's ever seen. For now, he's locking in on one mission, getting that treasure home, no matter what. He stands alone in the dungeon's endless, ruined wasteland, every step echoing like a warning. His gaze snaps back to that looming castle on the horizon, like it's daring him to look closer. With his loot clutched safe, Hinata pushes onward, hunting for the only exit out of this nightmare. Suddenly, a tiny glimmer of light flashes in the distance, catching his eye. Hope bursts in his chest as he sprints toward the dungeon's exit. This was his very first dungeon, the moment he finally got thrown into the real test of becoming an explorer. He plants his final step and bursts out of the suffocating darkness. He finally met his very first monster, and this thing was an absolute beast, towering like it didn't belong in the world. And for the first time, a real wave of accomplishment hit him like lightning. Reality snaps back with a blinding white flash, like the world just got violently reset. He snaps right back into the reception area, staring down the clerk. She can only freeze in place, staring in stunned silence at how battered he looks after that sudden arrival. A deafening crash rips through the lobby, turning the silence into shock. Hinata's mind blanks as chaos erupts out of nowhere. The receptionist yanked herself out of her chair and blurted, "Are you okay?" She snaps at him for sneaking up and jolting her apparently. Showing up without a sound is just plain rude. She snaps her head up and realizes there he is, the exact student from yesterday. Hinata's frozen in shock. He's been stuck in that place for an entire day. The receptionist is blown away that he's still breathing, and she's already locked in, waiting for what move he makes next. She tells him straight up he still needs that license and begs him to get it. He nods along meekly, and the moment he does, a disgusted, unimpressed glare snaps right back at him. She thrusts a massive gold-etched book in front of him and demands he slide his hand inside. Cautious but unshakable, Hinata shoots her hand forward and finally completes the registration. His eyes stay locked on the prize, ready to kick off his official start at last. But the receptionist's expression twists into pure, jaw-dropping disbelief. She leans in so close, blurting, "What on earth are you even looking at?" Hinata calmly tells him, "I was born at level 0. Her mind totally seizes up when she hears that. Her shriek rips through the building, leaving everyone nearby frozen in shock. She blurts out an instant apology the second her composure slips. The mark on his hand screams that the impossible just became real. He figures out that even with no levels, he can still hustle his way into a real living. He'd burn the whole world down if it meant his sister could finally get a better life. She grins and congratulates him. Now he's an official explorer. He snatches his new license with a grateful, rock-solid determination. Right then, the daily rankings blimp jolts the sky with a bombshell announcement. A brand new #1 just stormed in, snagging a score no one's ever topped before. Hinata can't stop daydreaming about the day his own name finally lights up on that list. For now, he'd take the peace quiet, steady, and finally under control. Elsewhere, that old bully of his glares at the news like it just punched him in the gut. Rank prodigy Kamui Hinata hears the news, and you can tell it's got him hooked. The whole world is about to flip upside down, and it's all because of him. But right now, there's just one person who's brave enough to suspect the truth. And our boy, the mystery, no one can pin down, just flashes that smile like he knows everything. Once his license is locked in, Hinata sprints straight to the buyback center. He slams his massive magic stone onto the appraisal machine. But the system spits out an error. Appraisal won't happen. He can't stop himself. What is that supposed to mean? This is getting flat out ridiculous. The machine barks out an order straight to a special counter where the rarest items are waiting. Next, he chews on the monster bones too, and once again, the exact same result hits. No exceptions. Then the hiding spot was so messed up that even its location couldn't be identified. None of his loot is coming from any registered monster. He reaches one conclusion, and it hits hard: the machine has to be broken. He reaches for one final trick, a tiny stone he snatches from the lesser creatures. The machine roars to life and dangles an insane 300,000 yen right in front of him. He can't wrap his head around it. This just-a-rabbit monster actually dropped a priceless magic stone. He decides to sell just one because he refuses to draw any unwanted attention. After finishing his first sale, he hauls himself back to the dorms, completely wiped out. The second he steps in, a familiar face spots him, and the surprise hits hard. Dorm Mom Kiono is there, throwing open the door and welcoming him back like nothing ever happened. He blurts out a fast apology for disappearing all day, then spills the truth he'd been trapped in a dungeon. She leans in and reminds him like a final lifeline of her warning to put his life first, no matter what. He leans in and asks if she believes his story, and she answers with a soft, reassuring smile. Hinata's shocked. She can't believe she's trusting him so fully, so fast. She spots his filthy uniform, and a tired sigh rips out of her like she's done this all too many times. She yells his name so loud it snaps his entire focus onto her instantly. With a warm smile, she beams and congratulates him for finally becoming an explorer. Her words slammed into him with a shock of power he never saw coming. A real heartfelt smile finally punches through his exhaustion and grime. Overcome with gratitude, he can only drop into a deep, heartfelt bow. It's finally happening. Suzuki Hinata just got officially locked in as an explorer. First things first, he tackles his battle-worn clothes and deals with them before anything else. He can't stop thinking about Kiono's kindness, like someone finally switched the world from chaos to calm. Just as he finally catches a quiet breath, another student bursts into the laundry room and shatters it. The boy leans in with a friendly pep talk, cheering the other on to get used to the mess. He steps forward and introduces himself Fuji Hiroto, just like that, another dorm mate stepping into the spotlight. With everyone introduced, the brutal fight against dungeon grime finally kicks off. Fuji leans in and asks, "So what dungeon did you clear on your very first run?" He's stunned to realize that most brand new adventurers go straight for D-rank dungeons first. Hinata lets out a laugh and shrugs it off, saying he didn't really have a choice in the matter. Fuji's jaw drops in shock when she realizes he's gone alone. Hinata flashes an awkward little smile and promises she'll be way more careful next time. Then Fuji steps in and offers to team up an honest, heart-on-the-sleeve kindness that hits like a punch. Hinata's heart swells with hope. He's quietly thinking, "Someday I'll become the kind of ally you can count on." The school bell blares, snapping everyone awake and kicking off another day at the academy. At his desk, Hinata lets out a shaky breath of relief as the last school bell finally dies out. But his plan gets crushed the second that familiar, menacing voice growls from the shadows, "Hey, level 0. With a weird grin creeping across his face, he whips around and tries to play it cool in front of Guy. He blurts out, "I need to borrow your face for just a second." Realizing he's got no way out, Hinata can only give in with a shaky, weak nod. He stares into the past they shared, and all he can think is how Guy has been tormenting him for years. For Hinata, that old bully wasn't just a person, he was the walking symbol of fear. But now, with his brand new resistance skills, that fear has finally been crushed for good. He clenches his fist tight, convinced the grind he's put in could finally pay off right now. Guy yanks him out of the classroom, itching to kick off the usual routine again. A smug, savage grin snaps across the bully's face, like he's already won. He whips his fist forward, trying to knock Hinata down a peg and remind him who's in charge. Hinata's eyes go huge as he watches a fist rocket straight toward his face. But thanks to that speed boost, his attack hits like it's happening in slow motion. He dodges with unreal ease, and Guy is left utterly speechless, jaw dropped in pure shock. Hinata slips right through him, leaving not a single scratch behind. The guy roars in pure frustration, totally stunned, like his brain can't even process what just happened. He still remembers the day that punch would have sent terror straight through his bones. Hinata finally clocks it. Those dungeon monsters were way stronger than this guy ever was. The bully's jaw drops, completely stunned by this sudden brutal swing in power. With fresh resolve burning in his chest, Hinata gears up for a counterattack of his own. A strange power starts to surge in his hand, and this time he's 100% sure of what he's about to do. A savage gust of wind blasts out from his plain open palm like the world just snapped open. The attack hits him like a wrecking ball. He gets blasted backward, totally caught off guard. And the system hands Hinata cold air resistance right off the bat after all. Why wouldn't that protection come from his own attack? Out of nowhere, a voice snaps, "Stop," and freezes them in their tracks. It's Kamui Hinata, an S-rank prodigy, and she looks absolutely furious. Guy plants his feet and tells her loud and clear to mind her own business. But that icy, simple order shuts him down on the spot. He locks up, beads of sweat pouring down as her massive pressure crushes in. Guy stumbles back, jaw clenched, swearing that Hinata will pay, starting with this humiliating loss. Hinata freezes in shock, finally realizing this is the real, unstoppable power of an S rank. He whirls around to thank the unexpected savior who just stepped in and saved him. But Kamui Hinata doesn't speak back, just fires a cold, razor-sharp glare straight into the situation. Panic hits him hard as he starts spiraling, thinking, did I somehow cross the line and offend her? His mind keeps replaying that same advice from his sister about complicated girls. He shoots a shaky, hopeful grin, desperately trying to crack the tension before it crushes him. And before he can even react, a full-blown ice attack slams into him, and wow, this escalated fast. The ground under his feet suddenly snaps into a sheet of ice. Sharp bicycles burst out of the walls, flooding the hallway in an instant. The system shoves freezing resistance into his body, and just like that, another day, another lifesaver skill. He's utterly stunned. Why is she suddenly trying to kill him, like out of nowhere? She keeps her face hidden as she talks, and her real intentions stay locked up in mystery. Hinata's face tightens, and grim, desperate resolve locks in like a fire burning behind her eyes. All he can think about is breaking free from that suffocating, lethal cold before it swallows him whole. He has no clue why this is happening, but one thing is crystal clear: he has to sprint right now. No choice left, he braces himself to fight back. With a desperate scream, he twists out of her relentless assault, just barely avoiding every hit. He muscles through her, hunting for a crack in the grip so he can bolt for freedom. His hand snaps onto her arm as he slips past her like he's already disappearing. And just like that, the S-rank prodigy suddenly breaks down and sobs. Hinata just stops cold, totally stunned as this wild twist crashes into her world. She crumples onto the floor, breathless, and keeps begging for forgiveness over and over again. Through choking sobs, she admits she was terrified, so she couldn't hold back. Our boy goes completely silent, mind scrambling as the emotions hit him like a brutal whiplash. But in her heart, Kamui already knows the truth: this kid is not like the others. She can't forget that smile. She's sure he's been keeping his real power locked up inside. She's convinced nobody's clocked it, none of the teachers either. She's been locked onto him ever since Guy first threw the challenge at him. How could a level 0 even hope to survive a monster like that? She was sure he was moments away from ending Guy for good. Her terror snapped into action and unleashed her S-rank power, the Ice God's protection. A power that blasts a deadly freezing aura non-stop, one she barely keeps on a leash because one slip and everything turns into disaster. But Hinata just waved off her lethal attack like it wasn't even dangerous. In her head, he was the real monster stalking that hallway. A primal terror of death swallowed him whole. She had absolutely no clue how to even handle someone with power that massive. And that S-rank prodigy crumbles, just sobs on the floor like his whole world collapsed. Meanwhile, Hinata wrestles with a puzzle that refuses to cooperate. Every piece is the wrong one. Through tears, she blurted out how her power accidentally kicked on by mistake. He totally misreads the moment, convinced she's terrified of him. She keeps apologizing, spiraling in her own twisted misunderstanding. Hinata stands there, cheeks blazing, utterly wrecked with embarrassment by everything going on. He shoots his hand out instantly, trying to calm her with comfort, awkwardly ruffling the hair of the school's strongest student. He slides her a handkerchief, and just like that, kindness hits her right in the heart. Kamui can only stare. Utter shock hits him like a punch, completely stunned by what he just saw. Hinata blurts out a tearful apology, shoulders the whole blame like it's his to carry. He stammers over his own thoughts, scrambling for the perfect words. He vows he'll do anything to repay her for saving his life. Her face flickers with shock, and then bam, a fresh idea ignites behind her eyes. She blurts out a fair condition fast, and it leaves him totally stunned. Kamui stared him down, and her mind started firing off a mile a minute with wild possibilities. She can't figure out why this ridiculously powerful boy is going so out of his way to be kind. She shoots him a question: is he seriously standing by that offer for real? He punctuates it with a wild, almost comically intense headshake. She grips the handkerchief tight, and a blazing blush floods her cheeks in seconds. With fresh determination blazing in her chest, she straight up asks if she can make a request. Hinata is left reeling. She can't wrap her head around the fact that he might actually be useful to her. Come on, let's weigh his offer with serious faces. Like this choice actually matters. His sister's voice keeps slamming into his mind. Just one rule: grant a girl every wish. So for Kamui's sake, he grabs the S-rank prodigy and hauls her back onto her feet. The very next day, the academy carries on like nothing happened: classes, chatter, and the same relentless routine. But now Hinata finds himself side by side with the school's toughest fighter. Elsewhere, one more student smirks and points out her legendary ice god's protection. Kamui stares into the truth and realizes her stoic mask is a prison one, holding back the sheer, unstoppable power inside her. Hinata just thinks she's a normal girl who's terrified of bullies, and honestly, I get it. He's really trying. He snaps to a stop, and that wave of social anxiety slams into him all at once. He awkwardly blurts out that he's heading to the dorms, and then he bolts like he can't escape fast enough. Kamui flashes a tiny, knowing smile and tells him straight up, "I'll see you later." Hinata's mind reels when she hears her voice so calm, so gentle, it leaves him completely speechless. But his sister's voice snaps back in, ripping him apart for leaving that girl all alone. He whips his head back, suddenly thinking, oh no, I definitely just shattered some sacred social rule. Later on, he's still stuck in torment, totally clueless about what he should have done instead. He's stuck in self-pity, whining that the only girl he's ever talked to is his sister. So yeah, zero experience, and it's haunting him. Suddenly, a bright, cheerful voice yells his name, snapping him out of his thoughts like a bolt of lightning. A red-haired student walks up and asks if they can sit with him right as he's mid-bite. Hinata blurts out a shaky, flustered yes, so nervous it practically slips out of him. Then he's completely blown away. His new companion has ordered a mountain of food so big he can't even speak. While everyone digs in, Hinata can't help wondering how all this food is ever going to fit. The student keeps munching without stopping, cheeks puffing out like a little chipmunk stuffing a secret stash. Fuji steps in and clocks the red-haired student like he's some tiny, cute little animal. Right away, the student confronts him, snapping that people only see him as unmanly. And it's getting him nowhere. Then they turn to Fuji and demand to know why he looks so wrecked inside. Fuji can only let out a heavy sigh, facepalm in silence as he admits, yeah, he still has no clue what girls are thinking. Hinata shrugs and says, I wasn't doing anything. I was just walking around with Kamui. We live in the same dorm. Then he launches into his sister's advice, telling everyone how to carry himself like a true gentleman. The red-haired student snaps into laughter and blurts, so are you doing an impression or what? They admit his sister's advice hits the mark, just not if you're seeing it from anyone else's angle. That advice slams into Hinata like a lightning bolt because this isn't about his rules. He panics because the second he clicks, he realizes he's been turning everything into his own story. His new friend leans in and says, easy, just ask her. Hinata finally realizes that a woman's heart isn't simple at all. It's tangled, deep, and way more complicated than he ever imagined. His friend jokes about meeting his sister, but Hinata's not buying it. Her patience hits zero instantly. The very next day, a brand new challenger shows up at the academy, ready to take the stage. Hinata storms into a private training hall right where Kamui is waiting. He grins, already stepping in to help her with the favor she just asked for. Kamui snaps back with a fierce, razor-sharp cry, like a decision made in the same breath. She snaps her eyes shut, and that familiar, deadly aura starts to surge back in. She clenches her teeth, trying to keep the massive power roaring inside her from bursting out. A blast of pure ice energy detonates, flooding the entire room in a single chilling wave. Hinata tightens up, bracing for the hit because he's 100% sure this is where his story ends. But Kamui gasps in pure shock. He's lost control again. She stares, totally baffled. Why is he still standing there, untouched? With a hard, heavy glare, she makes her choice. This is exactly what she needs. She clenches her fist, eyes locked in, and vows she'll master her own power no matter what. Her mission is locked in. She's going to master the ice god's protection at last. And to pull that off, she needs him to shove her even farther than ever. Hinata's left utterly stunned, like she can't believe she just asked for more. She demands he lock eyes with her, and the moment he does, he's left totally speechless because this definitely isn't the kind of training he thought he signed up for. He finally gets it. This is the exact favor she's been trying to ask for. Elsewhere, Guy seethes with rage, blaming Hinata for Kamui's instability. Back in the hall, Hinata swallows her doubts and agrees to her strange request. He's convinced this is the only move that can truly save her. Kamui stares him down, and fresh determination burns bright in her eyes. Hinata steels his nerves, bracing for whatever chaos hits him next. She's convinced he's the missing piece, the one thing that can finally smash through her weakness. She pushes him on why he's stalling, and he crumbles into a flustered, beet-red mess. Hinata tightens her jaw and steels herself for what's coming next. Kamui clenched her teeth, fighting tooth and nail against the power raging inside her. Hinata locks his gaze on her the second she asks. Her eyes narrowed like a blade, and her focus snapped into total, unshakable control. She drives herself to the limit, burning with energy as she fights to keep it all from spilling out. And just like that, the power rips loose again, spilling out with zero control. She got blasted back by the backlash, totally overwhelmed as she flew through the air. Hinata barrels to her side, grabbing her attention as she blurts, "Are you okay?" She tilts her head, staring at him like, "Wait, did you get stronger somehow?" He flat out denies it, totally clueless that he's already grown. No matter what, his level is still frozen hard at 0. She blurts out an apology for crying, but he won't hear it. He claims the blame is entirely on him. She blurts out, "Why are you being so kind to someone like me?" The question hits Hinata like a lightning bolt. She turns bright red, stammers, and can barely get the words out. He lays it out plain, this is his duty, and he won't dodge that responsibility. And honestly, once his sister got wind of it, she'd never shut up about it. When someone brings up his sister, the tension snaps like a rubber band. With a real grin, she can't help but marvel at how wildly expressive she's become. He can't help but stare at how fiercely she stands up to her fears. Meanwhile, their training left everything in chaos. They burst out into the wreckage left behind by her power. The whole place is straight up transformed into a snowy winter wonderland. Hinata can't stop wondering how they're even going to clean this mess up. And the system straight up hands him ice fusion like, wow, talk about absurdly convenient. He's stunned, realizing the power inside him is literally melting the ice. But Kamui fires back, saying her ice won't thaw that easily. He can only come to one conclusion: this is a disgusting abuse of power. He can't let her get caught for this. With fresh fire in his chest, he decides to take matters into his own hands. His skill surges instantly into absolute 0. Kamui can only stare in disbelief as that sudden outburst bursts out of him. With a fierce roar, Hinata braces himself and prepares to unleash his brand new power. He slams the trigger on absolute ice fusion, his brand new, just forged skill. He freezes in pure shock because the ice doesn't melt at all. It just disappears. Kamui is left totally speechless, staring at the impossible display like it just shattered reality. Hinata whirls toward her, relief crashing in at least now. She's finally safe from trouble. She can barely get the words out, stunned beyond belief like her whole world just flipped upside down. A brand new day dawns, but nothing feels the way it used to. Other students start whispering and gossiping the second they spot the Ice Princess walking hand in hand with a boy. Hinata nervously blurts out an apology, hoping to shut down the unwanted attention before it gets any worse. Kamui gives a quick goodbye, then slips into the day's next chapter and heads off to part ways. But Hinata's nerves explode. She panics and suddenly screams her name. She whips around, calm on the surface, but that look screams, "What's going on?" Blushing hard, he nervously offers to walk her home, trying to play the perfect gentleman. He instantly scrambles backward, convinced he's just crossed a line he had no right to touch. She presses him for answers, sure that no one like her is worth the time, so why would he even want to? He tells them it's all to shut down any more misunderstandings and avoid more trouble. With a dazzling grin, he declares that he'll take full responsibility, no excuses. His words slammed into her like a punch straight to the gut. She's left totally flustered, stumbling over her words like her thoughts won't line up. With a trembling, deep bow, she shyly takes his offer. Then he fires off his skill and snuffs out her freezing aura like it's nothing. Yeah, the universe's personal fixer is here. Kamui gets completely blindsided by how unbelievably kind everyone is. She cranes her neck upward, cheeks burning bright, and whispers, "Thank you," like it's all she can say. Hinata is totally rattled, so flustered she can barely even look up. He stammers out, "You're welcome," and the awkwardness hangs there like a live wire. So the two of them start their walk home side by side, like the night's just waiting for what comes next. Kamui's lips curl into a grin as questions explode in his head. Who is he, really, deep down? Meanwhile, Hinata's mind won't stop racing. He's freaking out about what his sister might think. He reaches out his hand once more, and with a brave little nod, she takes it. Their destination finally snaps into view, the Kamui family's greatest stronghold. Hinata can't stop replaying it. How in the world did his life end up on this exact path? He's greeted by a woman who steps forward and introduces herself as Kamui's mother, Irina. He stammers out his own name because the second Irina says she's heard everything about him. He just can't keep his composure. Her whole attitude flips, and she snaps at him, accusing him of tearing up her precious daughter. And just like that, she sweeps him in with a smile that disarms every doubt. He strides into the sprawling, old-school Kamui estate, like the whole place is about to witness something huge. They marched him into a waiting room and slid a steaming cup of tea into his hands. A maid rushed in and told him the young lady would be with him any minute. Hinata is totally out of his league in this stiff, formal world. He leans toward the garden and spots a lone figure slumped beside the pond. Trying to be polite, he forces out a shaky, friendly greeting that sounds like his nerves are getting the last word. The old man snaps his head up, stunned that the boy can even feel him standing there. Hinata just flashes this embarrassed little grin, and yeah, he confirms it. And the system hands him stealth detection. Yeah, of course it does. The old man stares like he's trying to rip straight through your soul. He snaps and smacks Hinata on the head the moment he catches her spacing out. That hit forces Hinata to level up. Now she's got mind-reading resistance, and getting clipped is basically just skill training at this point. The old man's eyes widen with genuine respect as he realizes the boy's stronger and tougher than he ever looks. Beaming with a booming laugh, he praises Hinata for her razor-sharp instincts. Meanwhile, our boy is completely clueless about what's going on. Suddenly, frantic footsteps come barreling into the silence like something's about to explode. Kamui bursts into view, rocking a jaw-dropping traditional kimono that turns heads instantly. Hinata is utterly stunned. She can't even find the words after seeing it. He just blushes hard, frantically hunting for the right words he can finally say. He blurts out that she looks straight up incredible. Kamui gets absolutely rattled and then floods with pure joy because that heartfelt compliment hits him right in the chest. The garden falls into a hush, and every quiet sound fills the silence for a heartbeat. The two of them huddle side by side, and the air turns heavy with awkward tension. Hinata snaps to, it turns out, they're way closer than he's ever been used to. He's so flustered he can barely breathe, completely overwhelmed by her presence. His body snaps against his control, and an urgent need hits him out of nowhere, and the system lets him break down waste. Like it's nothing. Seriously, the universe has a knack for every single kind of power. Irina returns to the arena, bowing so deeply it's almost reverent, with a maid standing right at her side. The three of them huddle together, and Hinata leans in with a sweet smile to compliment the tea. But Irina's smile vanished, and a serious look snapped into place like a countdown starting, saying it was finally time to begin. Hinata is left totally stunned, like the whole mood flipped out of nowhere. She snaps open the sleek black briefcase and swings it toward him. Inside, there's just one ornate credit card from the Kamui Corporation, like it's the key to something dangerous. Irina hands him a blank check, like it's payment for every single trouble he's been through. Hinata's thoughts rocket forward, and he realizes this could be the key to saving his entire family's future. But Kamui shot that down hard, yelling that this wasn't even part of their deal. Our boy can only stand there, frozen in the crossfire of a full-blown family disaster. Kamui fires off the question, why, but her mum only grins sweet as sugar, like she knows something Kamui doesn't. Turns out, Irina is practically glowing. Tears spill up in her eyes, like she can't believe what she's seeing. That reaction hits them both so hard, these two teenagers are left utterly speechless. She admits it's been years since her daughter has ever spoken to her with that kind of fire. Kamui turns his gaze aside, and that painful truth about their relationship lands like a gut punch. Hinata finally cracks the mask. She realizes her icy stoic act isn't just something she does at school. Her lonely life's weight slams into him like a wrecking ball. Irina tells him Kamui trained day and night for this exact moment. A spark of fire lights up in Hinata's eyes, and pure resolve slams into place. He finally fesses up to himself. He doesn't actually know a thing about her. Irina and the maid bow again, practically begging him to stay right beside her daughter. Hinata's world gets slammed. This sudden heavy request hits like a tidal wave and leaves her completely overwhelmed. Kamui can only stare at the ground, trapped in the shame of never being able to look her in the eye. Her mom tells her straight up only he can cancel her power. Hinata just listens, and then the whole situation slams into her hard. He lifts his gaze, and grim determination hardens across his face. Irina's convinced that only his presence can unlock her daughter's true happiness. But Hinata cuts in fast, shouting that he's not doing this for a single coin. He swears he'll do anything to back her up and stand guard over all her hard work. And right then, he clenches his resolve and flat out rejects the family's money. He's doing it for her, and he chose it himself. No one forced that decision. Irina is left utterly stunned by his noble declaration. She shoots back, "So does this mean you'll still be my daughter's friend?" Hinata shyly nods in agreement, as long as Kamui is totally cool with it. Irina snaps her daughter right into the hot seat and demands an answer on the spot. But Kamui's so flustered she can't even get a single word out. This all hits way too fast for the Ice Princess. She's swamped by panic, so she bolts out of the room, smashing into the table and sending it tumbling over. Hinata instantly surges after him, shouting his name as she closes the gap. That shattered teacup hits like a bullseye, pure perfection for the tension choking the whole room. He panics, terrified her power will freeze the entire estate, and the system slams down absolute ice seal just for him. Yeah, of course it does. He lunges out with a desperate reach, trying to yank her back before she can bolt. He sprinted down the long traditional hallway to escape, but Hinata refuses to let him get away. His face shows ironclad resolve, like nothing on earth could shake him. Kamui can't stop thinking maybe the best thing she can do for everyone is vanish for good. And just like that, she's gone, vanishing right out of sight. Suddenly, a katana slices out from a nearby display like it's been waiting for its cue. Hinata's instincts snap into place, and he triggers the absolute concealment skill. This kid's skill tree is getting straight up insane. Kamui freezes, sensing it, she's not alone after all. She stands braced with a blade in hand, ready to swing at any second. But her resolve shatters, and she crumples to the floor. That S-rank prodigy is blushing again, caught up in a full-on flustered spiral. Hinata step out, voice soft as he calls her name. She jerks upward, eyes wide. His sudden appearance threw her into total shock. He bursts into instant panic, blurting out apologies, terrified he'd worried her. Come on, staring at her, my mind goes totally blank. He looms over her, holding his breath, waiting for her to finally speak. Tears streaming down her face, she pleads, "Why are you doing all of this for me?" Hinata flashes a warm, gentle smile that instantly puts everyone at ease. He tells her through gritted teeth that the tears are on him, that he feels like it's his fault she's crying. He admits it, watching her grind so hard is straight up inspiring. Once again, he thrusts the handkerchief into her hands. He craved a way to be helpful to someone as incredible as her. His words hit her like a lightning bolt, and she's left totally speechless. One lone tear slips down her cheek like it's breaking her heart. She blurts out, face lighting up, "I'm just so insanely happy." For the very first time, she reaches out and grabs his hand with her own. With a radiant smile, she beams and delivers a heartfelt thank you that hits straight in the chest. Hinata can't do anything but blush, totally overwhelmed by what just happened. The two of them sit in a calm, knowing quiet that says everything without a single word. But the old man from the garden is keeping his eyes on them. A stranger suddenly pops up between them, jolting the life out of both of them, pure mood annihilation. Kamui freezes for a second, then realization hits hard that man is her uncle. The old man bursts into laughter, practically begging that she's found a good one. He cornered Hinata and demanded to know how he's stripping away her power. The old man's calm face snaps into something razor-sharp the moment that skill gets mentioned. He leans in and demands to know, does Hinata really understand what skills are truly like? But he flashes a grin and tells you straight up knowledge never comes for free. He jabs a finger at them, and a brilliant idea ignites in his mind. He pushes for a wild deal, Hinata, be my grandson, and all he needs is for her to marry Kamui. He fires off a bad suggestion, and boom, a swift kick from the knees shuts him down instantly. Hinata's brain just flatlined like it couldn't take it anymore. Kamui practically begs him to wipe it all away, right as he gets a terrifying defense skill, because of course the universe loves chaos. Once the chaos finally dies down, they rush back to the main house. Irina snaps them back into the action like the whole chaos never even happened. But right there in the shadows, another figure is waiting to strike. A hard-eyed man strides in and declares, "I'm Kamui Akira, her father." Hinata blurts out a shaky, overly formal introduction, totally terrified, and somehow meeting the parents is going great. Kamui lights up the moment she sees her father, grinning at him like the best news just walked in the room. That reaction hits the stern head of the family like a lightning bolt. He's left utterly stunned. She flashes a grin and admits she never ever imagined this day would finally arrive. Akira whips around to Hinata and blasts out a booming, heartfelt thank you. Hinata can only shoot back a shaky, nervous smile, like she's bracing for impact. Her parents finally admit it. They've been praying for the day they could see her smile like this again. Once the family reunion wraps up, Hinata turns and heads out, ready to leave. But then Kamui yells his name right at the gate and stops him dead in his tracks, like this day refuses to end. He turns toward her and asks what's really on her mind. She freezes for a beat, fingers trembling as they clutch together. She leans in and demands that he ditch the formalities starting now, call her by her first name. That one request detonates pure panic inside our boy. He scrambles backward, convinced he's somehow misread the whole situation. But she shoots back, saying she just needs a little time to get herself ready. The idea of being on a first-name basis crushes him. It's just way too much to handle. She straight up admits she's not mentally ready for it either. They tell him he can jump in anytime he's ready. No pressure, no deadlines. They trade rushed goodbyes, urging each other to stay safe. She gives him one last soft wave, then lets him disappear into the distance as he heads out. But the second he's gone, her smile snaps off like a switch. Her mother stands in the doorway, eyes locked on her with a worried, aching look. But her worry instantly fizzles into a knowing smile. She leaned in and asked, "Did Hinata head out for the night?" Irina clocks how good he is, and Kamui nods right along. His mum swears the whole Kamui family has his back, no question about it. And yeah, he's the guy who fought his way back and returned their daughter. Kamui's face stays locked and unreadable, like her thoughts are sealed behind ice. Irina beamed at his smile, but a knot of fear tightened. What happens the moment he's gone? Kamui calmly declares she's heading back to her room. With a soft good night, the wild, action-packed day finally fades away. The door to the private training hall glides open with a sharp, tense hush. Kamui strides in, eyes locked on the fight as she's set to keep battling alone. Her face is set in stone, and her resolve won't budge an inch. Elsewhere, Hinata races up to the entrance of an E-rank dungeon. You'll see these all the time, unlike those rare, top-tier A-rank dungeons people brag about. He's dead set on stacking up more skills so he can stand shoulder to shoulder with Kamui. But before he can move, a stern-looking guard slams his path shut. The man demanded to see his license before he'd even let him through, just the usual way they handled things. Then he demands confirmation of Hinata's current level. Hinata flashes a confident grin and thrusts his hand forward, stamped with a bold 0. The guard's jaw drops. He won't let a level 0 slip in alone. Dejected Hinata slumps as the other explorers get waved through, one after another. He can't stop thinking about how to slip past the gatekeeper without getting caught. Then it hits him. He's got a special skill for exactly this. How ridiculously convenient. He slams on absolute concealment and gets ready to slip in like he owns the place. He strides right past the guard like he's invisible, and not a single eye notices him. Hinata can barely believe it. His brand new power is actually hitting the mark. But the skill cuts out of nowhere, and pain detonates. He blurts out a sharp cry. A smug, familiar voice slices through the air like it owns the place. It's Guy, stopped cold again by that exact same guard. The bully scoffs through clenched teeth, furious that he's been held up by a dungeon he calls weak. He barrels through the crowd and leaves Hinata stuck on the sidelines, watching helplessly. The guard can only let out a weary sigh, completely fed up with the attitude this generation brings. Now that the coast is finally clear, Hinata steps inside at last. He snaps into a grassy field, and right on cue, a brand new system window pops up. He's totally lost because this dungeon, it's called the Trollsden. He finally clocks it. This isn't that same dark, terrifying nightmare from before. He stands there by himself, trying to wrap his head around this brand new, unfamiliar world. Right nearby, another explorer swings his sword with total confidence. He sets his sights on this tiny, trembling slime, and you can tell right now the fight is about to be legendary. A blonde girl lunges in with her spear and wipes the creature out in seconds, while another student swings down a massive axe. The slime monster gets wiped out in one perfectly timed, coordinated strike. 3 of them party it up because the victory was so easy, it felt like they didn't even break a sweat. Hinata watches them from afar, a bright, admiring smile lighting up her face. He tracks down his very own slime, and boom, he unlocks the monster analysis skill. He dubs the creature Koru, and when he touches it, he's shocked by how weirdly nice its texture feels. But then his gentle squeeze suddenly turns into a messy pop right out of nowhere. Slathered in goo, he grips his power tighter with a hard-earned hand strength tweak. Then the universe's skill delivery service strikes again. He was soon hemmed in by the scattered remains of countless defeated slimes. Now that he's unlocked his new skill, he's a total slime-squishing master. But his hope dies fast. None of them have dropped a single magic stone, and he's left crushed. The other party catches sight of a slime launching through the air and instantly assumes it's some rare, never-seen variant. It's just Hinata lifting his brand-new friend up like it's nothing, utterly clueless to everything happening around them. The other explorers stare in disbelief, completely thrown off by his wild, out-of-nowhere behavior. Their leader's rage erupts, and he snaps orders for his team to charge the boy. The slime lunges forward, stretching itself out to shield Hinata from the danger. He swears he'll protect his brand-new friend, right down to the gooey little blob he calls home. His daring escape spits him out onto a mysterious wooden dock. He halts on a round platform, eyes wide as he can't stop wondering what the hell this place is. The platform suddenly kicks on, and his slime friend shoots up into the sky like a cannon blast. Koru lands hard on the dock, safe at last, while Hinata is left stranded on the other side. Hinata gasps and shouts in shock. He realizes he just accidentally teleported his friend away. Elsewhere, Guy plunges deeper into the dungeon's twisting kuns. He looks locked in, but you can tell that pressure is starting to grind him down. A low growl rumbles through the dark, and then 2 massive tusks slash out from the shadows. He finally stands eye to eye with the dungeon's floor boss. Hinata's sharp analysis snaps the truth into focus. This thing is a troll, and fire is its weakness. The colossal beast whirls its club and crashes it down with terrifying, bone-jarring power. He barely throws himself aside in time to escape the brute force sweeping strike. Guy strains with everything he's got, and his weapon is barely holding back the beast's wild power. With a desperate scream, he throws absolutely everything he's got into his defense. But his frustration keeps exploding. This is not going even close to the way he planned. Out of nowhere, a savage blast of magic crashes into the troll's side. The other team just barged in, totally confused like, wait, what's happening here? The swordsman rockets straight into the chaos without a second thought. He drives a brutal, no doubt punch straight into the monster's head. In the blink of an eye, that massive beast gets slammed to the ground. Hinata's eyes light up at their teamwork, because right now, this is an adventuring party in full swing. But their leader is already getting his face smashed into a whole other troll. He digs his heels into the ground, clearly pissed off that the interruption just ruined his moment. The guy freezes and stares up, utterly baffled by how everything just flipped on its head. He can't even process what he's seeing. It feels unreal. A second troll steps into view, and it's so unreal he can barely believe what he's seeing. He tightens his grip and steels himself for round 2. The bully erupts in a wild roar, choking on pure frustration. Hinata stands on the sidelines, staring with eyes bulging in pure, trembling fear. The beast's club slams into the earth with a bone-jarring impact that rattles everything around it. He's trapped from all sides, and it finally hits him. The dungeon rules have been shattered. Hinata desperately scrambles to figure out what on earth is happening in the total chaos. The assault hits the other party's leader so hard they get flung backward. The swordsman shouts over the chaos, offering his blade hand help to the struggling student. The guy's jaw drops when this unexpected alliance offer hits him out of nowhere. Both squads teamed up, then went straight on the offensive, slamming the monsters back with every strike. Together, their combined power finally flips the battle in their favor. Even Guy still pulls off a brutal, perfectly clean hit. He barely slips away as the beast's huge claws whip past his face. That non-stop fight is absolutely wrecking him. The swordsman throws him a fierce nod, then thanks him, making it crystal clear they had each other back, and it took real teamwork. But now they're stuck, staring at the chaos, begging to know why 3 bosses showed up all at once. Hinata just freezes in place, staring in horror as a 3rd boss drops into the fight. The other party snatches up their loot and heads out, leaving Guy to scramble and recover. Their leader leans in and gives a friendly warning, "Don't push yourself too hard." His fresh allies stare at his power and instantly warn him that striking out alone could get him killed. They shove the truth in his face in a dungeon. You don't get a second chance. But Guy's face tightens, like he's already made peace with that risk. The cavern falls into a suffocating silence after the battle, like the whole place is holding its breath. Hinata stays hidden and scrambles to wrap her head around the impossible chaos. When he spots another guest arrive, it clicks each party's presence summons its own separate floor boss. A terrifying thought hits him. He's the reason the 3rd troll even exists. He bursts out of the shadows, staring down the monster he just summoned. Fresh determination ignites in him, and he decides this time it's his moment to step up. The beast hasn't clocked him yet, and that's the perfect window he's been waiting for. He's got a simple plan. He'll use his concealment skill to strike in hit-and-run bursts. His martial arts mastery lets him spot the monster's weak points instantly. He remembers watching the beast line up its strike for the back of his neck. Now that his target is locked in, he braces himself to strike. He explodes forward with a brutal kick, driving straight for the monster's head. The punch lands clean right in the troll's face, no doubt, no escape. His cover gets ripped away and the 60-second cooldown kicks off. The troll whirls around, baffled, just as Hinata squares up and gears for its brutal counterattack. But when he swung, the monster's thick hide barely even flinched, no real damage, just a cruel scrape. Horror hits him when he realizes his attack barely landed at all. He's got 2 paths now: sit and wait for his skill, or gamble everything on a straight-up fight. He remembers his defense boost skill and bets it can blunt at least 1 solid hit. With no choice left, he clenches his fist and bets everything on whether he can endure it. A bright, cheerful voice suddenly slices through the tension from right behind him. Hinata snaps around in total shock, caught off guard by the sudden burst of someone appearing right in front of her. A girl with twin pigtails leans in and flashes a wide, unsettling grin at him. But just as their little conversation gets going, a massive club comes crashing in to shut it down. She smiles brightly and kicks off her cheerful speech while the giant monster looms and gets completely ignored. Hinata can only stammer, eyes wide, trying to figure out how she ended up here at all. He rushes in to warn her, then points at the massive, furious troll like, "Run!" But she casually pats its back and tells it like it's already handled. The massive beast's head starts to sag forward, like all its strength just got ripped away. With a brutal thud, it crumples to the ground, and Hinata is left standing there, utterly frozen in shock. He can't help but wonder, did it fake its death? And are those twitching hands just trying to tell him it's still alive? She just puffs her cheeks, looking annoyed that he's being so careful. She waves it off, grinning at him like, "Yeah, that monster's down because it's already defeated." Like it's the easiest thing in the world. She prods the fallen beast like it's nothing, and you can feel the sheer absence of fear in every move. Hinata's blushing so hard she can barely breathe, totally flustered to the max. He whips his head away and shields his eyes as she asks what's wrong. He stammers out, "I saw something I wasn't meant to see." The girl is left totally baffled as panic suddenly crashes over him. Then she hikes up her skirt and boom, there are shorts underneath, and honestly, that seals it. She breaks into giggles, teasing him relentlessly for getting this flustered. Our boy can only yank his face away in shame, begging the earth to swallow him whole. She flashes a smug little smile, savoring every second of his discomfort like it's a private victory. But that sweet little moment is about to get smashed by an interruption. The troll crawls back up right behind her, still totally undefeated. She plants her hands on her hips like, "All right, round 2, let's go." Hinata can only stand there, watching in helpless silence, his face twisting with pure worry. From her back, she yanks out 2 massive cylindrical weapons. She leans in and spills the secret, warning him, "Just wait, this is what you're about to see." With a wink, she leans in and tells him to keep it strictly between them. She strides up to that towering, angry beast like she's got nothing to fear. Hinata just freezes, her jaw drops at how ridiculously confident she is. Her eyes cut like blades, and her face is locked in total, relentless focus. She digs her heels into the ground, bracing herself to unleash her real power. With lightning speed, she surges forward and goes straight for the attack. Hinata can only freeze in place, completely stunned by how insanely fast she moves. A hulking troll swings a massive club, trying to smash her into the ground, but she twists midair and slips away with a graceful spinning kick. Her eyes stay razor-sharp, and her focus never slips no matter that she's upside down. She snaps forward in an instant, shutting the gap and diving straight into the attack. That beast can't even keep up as she whips through the air at lightning speed. She turns into pure blur wheels of motion, non-stop strikes slamming in waves. Her weapons slam into the ground, blasting a massive shockwave outward. Hinata suddenly realizes she's got a ridiculously powerful magic weapon in her hands. She unleashes a non-stop storm of brutal strikes. With one last, crushing hit, the monster gets blasted backward, skidding through the air like it's lost all hope. The troll staggers backward, swallowed by a roaring cloud of dust. She grips the moment and refuses to back down. And it looks like the fight is finally done. She lets out a calm breath and smoothly lowers her weapons. She whips her head toward Hinata and fires off a bright, victorious wink like she's just won. But she whips her head around, panicking where the heck did he vanish to? Meanwhile, Hinata slips into the shadows, trying to sneak away unnoticed with his concealment. He's convinced the safest move is for her to erase him from her memory the moment she turns away. But her face flips instantly, and her instincts go razor-sharp. With one crushing stomp, she zeroes straight in on where he is. And just like that, she's suddenly right behind him, so much for a clean getaway. Hinata goes wide-eyed when she suddenly pops up out of nowhere. Her face holds an unnerving intensity that feels almost impossible to look away from. She flings her arms into the air and demands he finally show himself. Hinata's stomach drops, he realizes they've got him, and panic detonates in his chest. She pouts hard, furious that he's still dodging her instead of coming out. She threatens, "If you don't come out, I'll start crying." And honestly, it's the oldest trick in the book. Hinata snaps right away, refusing to let another girl's tears hit the floor. She keeps up the act, pleading, begging for him to shut off his skill. With a heavy sigh, Hinata finally shows himself, and the moment she sees him, shock hits her hard. Hinata can do nothing but slump there, utterly drained after that brutal ordeal. The girl stares in disbelief and blurts out that she couldn't feel a single trace of him at all. She grins and tells him, "I've got my own special power." So yeah, our boy's standing there, cheeks blazing, totally ripped out of his comfort zone. She leans in close, eyes locked on him, like she's starving to uncover every secret he's hiding. She clocks it instantly. He rarely speaks to anyone, and she's right. Her next guess that he has no friends lands on him like a devastating critical hit. She bursts into laughter at how flustered he gets, then teases him, "Did I make you angry?" She needles him for taking everything so seriously, and his brain just can't quite catch up. Her voice flips in an instant, and she demands to know why he was hiding in the first place. She can't stop wondering if his power is a secret he's terrified to reveal. Hinata's on edge, obsessing over what she really wants from him. She flashes a bright smile and pitches him a deal, form a temporary party. That sudden request hits Hinata like a truck. She's completely, utterly stunned. He can't wrap his head around it. Why would a girl this powerful even want to team up with him? He grudgingly nods along, knowing he's got no real option if he wants to keep his skills locked up and out of sight. She throws a burst of celebration their way, snatching his hand and gripping it tight with pure, crackling excitement. Her joyful cheer ricochets through the cavern, and suddenly the silence feels almost unreal. Hinata can only gawk, totally dumbfounded by how unstoppable her energy is. Then she whips out a picnic blanket, basically telling him, "Let's just wait here, boss will respawn like it always does." Hinata shoots a question, "Where did you even pull those weapons from?" because she's sure you've got some kind of spatial storage tucked away. She taps the dirt, beckoning him to sit down and finally get comfortable. She snaps to the truth they've just blown right past a crucial step: introductions. She pops up and says, "I'm Cheyenne," and he fires back, "I'm right after." They finally figure out they're both first years just stuck in different classes. Cheyenne looks crushed, and Hinata quickly reminds her, "Hey, we've only just met." The talk snaps straight to Kamui, the S-rank prodigy in their class. Cheyenne smirks like he knows something, because that ruthless rival is way closer than Cheyenne thinks. Hinata is totally thrown off right as the troll snaps back and answers from right behind them. They both snap into motion, ready to tear into the floor boss for round 2. Cheyenne bursts into action, yelling at Hinata to circle the beast. Hinata goes completely wide-eyed. This is his first real party battle, and it hits him like a wave. She rockets through the sky, all fire and fury, just a streak of speed and shining steel. The troll roared with savage fury, ready to smash straight into her charge. Racing at her signal, Hinata uses his insane speed to slip around the monster and hit it from the side. But the moment he moves, his speed blows past anything she ever dreamed of. She can only freeze in place, stunned out of her mind by his impossible speed. His eyes blaze with intensity, and when he locks in, nothing in front of him can escape as he closes in. He drives a brutal, bone-jarring punch straight into the monster's jaw. He grabs that momentum and rockets himself back into the sky. Cheyenne goes totally speechless as his lightning-fast, perfectly coordinated assault crashes in. The sheer blast of his attack slams the massive beast straight into the ground. She blurts out that it's already taken down completely, and she's stunned. Hinata realizes the weak spot hits like a cheat code, way more effective than he ever expected. Cheyenne dumps all the loot from their shared victory into his hands. He grins and accepts on the spot, itching to break things down with his dismantling skill. She studies him with a knowing, curious grin, like she already figures out what he's about to do. She pushes for them to keep farming, and Hinata is completely caught off guard. And that's how their shockingly smooth monster-hunting rampage kicks off. Before long, Hinata stacked up a mountain of materials so big it looked unreal. Once the job was finally finished, Cheyenne decided it was time to break for the door. But when she whips around, Hinata has vanished again, gone like the wind. She thrusts her hand toward him and catches him totally off guard. She says it's to stop him from slipping out and bolting the moment he gets the chance. She even dares to cry in front of his whole class if he walks out cold, brutal, and painfully effective. Defeated, Hinata is yanked out of the dungeon by the hand. Cheyenne hums a bright, happy tune, and it's like she can't stop smiling at how proud she is. Meanwhile, our guy is getting hit with a full-on social anxiety meltdown, like his brain is panic-spinning in real time. They finally burst through the exit, and she snaps, "Deactivate your skill right now." With a burst of light, Hinata pops back into the world, and pure joy floods her face. Cheyenne taunts him, and thank the stars he doesn't even try to bolt. Her perfectly formal, playful way of talking crushes Hinata's composure. He's left totally flustered. He tells them, "I'm used to it, my sister got me ready." Cheyenne can't help but stare. His quirks feel weirdly familiar, like he's carrying a piece of her own family. She praises his unbelievable talent for hiding, like he's impossible to spot. He tries to play it cool, insisting he's just average, like his power isn't off the charts. But she shoots him a look that basically screams, "I know." This girl clocks everything, no doubt about it. She leans in, asks what he's got planned, and he shoots back that he's heading to another dungeon tomorrow. Cheyenne instantly butts in and invites herself on the next trip. She steps right up, and it hits him. Yeah, this is a party right now. She bolts off and sets the exact time and place for their next meeting. The second she's alone, her bright smile shatters, and the cheerful act falls away instantly. Hinata finally realized that this one-time team-up wasn't a one-off anymore. It had turned into something they kept doing on purpose. Back at the dorms, the day's adventure hit like a punch, leaving everyone wiped out. He crumples to the floor, completely wiped out. Fuji catches him and just can't stop teasing him for still getting himself into trouble with girls. Hinata slides the attack aside and fires back, demanding to know what happened on Fuji's own dungeon trip. His friend brags through a grin that he just tackled a D-rank dungeon like it was nothing. Hinata's blown away, but Fuji shrugs and says he was only the backup for the real powerhouse group. But Hinata knows one thing for sure: staying right with them takes real earned skill. He's blazing with drive, dead set on never becoming a burden to the allies he'll need next. Fuji leans in and fires off a question: does he even know about the two kinds of explorers? He lays it out: this world splits into two camps, the conservatives and the strategists. The conservatives cling to the cleared floors because it's the safest route they can take, while the strategists charge deeper into the unknown, death lurking around every single turn. Hinata can't wrap her head around why anyone would ever gamble their life on something this dangerous. Fuji tells them the terrifying gamble is what makes the rewards absolutely unreal. The ultimate prize is a blazing spot at the top of the exploration rankings. The very best get slammed with unbelievable support from every corner of the world. And just like that, he drops the real twist. There's a secret special reward waiting too. Fuji leans in and tells him this reward is something humans can't even dream of. He finally spills the truth. His dream is to become #1 in the entire world. Hanada's jaw drops, completely floored by his friend's insane, sky-high ambition. Fuji says the real problem is this: if the unknown could just figure it out, they'd be unbeatable. The very next day slams into town, bringing a fresh wave of deadly problems. In his room, Hinata leaned back and wrestled with the meaning of that mysterious top ranker. Fuji wonders, let it slip, like what kind of special reward could possibly be hiding in there. Hinata decides that the moment feels right, he'll finally ask about it. The wall clock ticks like a threat, racing straight for 9:45. Hinata snaps to it and realizes he's running late for his meeting with Shion. He still remembers her warning, don't be late for that 10 a.m. appointment with her. He panics, scrambling to get it sorted because he knows he's already skating on thin ice. Bursting out the door, he can't shake the dread of the lecture coming for him. But Cheyenne is right there, waiting for him with that calm, knowing smile that somehow feels like a promise. They're charging straight for another E-rank dungeon, E90. Inside, Cheyenne stands in a sunlit clearing, letting the light spill over her as everything quiets around her. She flashes a smug grin, like she'd known all along he'd pull it off. She snatches him playfully, and it instantly leaves him flustered, totally caught off guard. His dungeon info skill lights up, revealing exactly where they've spawned. Hinata is just breathless with relief. His speed boost totally saved the day. Cheyenne snaps her arm out and points deep into the forest, like she's just spotted something buried far ahead. A tiny winged creature swoops in and lands softly on her finger, like it's choosing her for something important. Hinata whips into view right behind him, and he jumps in shock. She snaps at him, furious that he didn't show up sooner. She pouted, furious that he tracked her down that fast. Their reunion finally done, they burst into the woods. Cheyenne thrusts a hand forward and shouts that she's picked up a monster on the move. Hinata's face drops. She's stunned, thinking, wait, do I have a scan skill too? A tiny, ferocious-looking creature suddenly crawls into view right in front of them. His sharp analysis locks onto it fast, spotting its weakness, and that rare drop hiding in plain sight. Cheyenne yells that they should go at it the same way they did yesterday. That tiny creature blasts out a roar so ferocious it catches everyone off guard. It rockets through the trees so fast it almost disappears. The monster slams the ground, coiled tight, ready to explode into a deadly pounce. But Cheyenne just grins like she's been waiting for this challenge her whole life. She slams her weapon down in one crushing, no-nonsense strike. Hinata gasps and shouts as she clocks it. This monster isn't just dangerous, it's a whole different color. A giant version of the creature suddenly looms right behind him, so much for it being a warm-up. Hinata snaps his arm forward, driving a punch straight for the beast's huge jaw. Its mouth yanks open wide, and a grin of razor-sharp teeth stares back. The monster gets blasted backward, skidding through the air on the impact of his blow. Hinata is left absolutely speechless, because the power he's unleashing is way beyond anything he expected. Cheyenne watches in awe, her face lighting up with a bright, impressed smile. She hands him every scrap of loot from their win, and he snatches it with a grateful nod. He's still in disbelief that it went down that easily, but she doesn't even look surprised. Their monster-slaying rampage keeps tearing through the forest, one brutal fight at a time. Hinata clenched his fist, and with every single fight, power roared to life inside him. The local monsters are having the worst day imaginable. He stares at another fallen creature, and soon the whole brutal rhythm of battle starts to feel familiar. Cheyenne suddenly shouts his name and points straight ahead. She's stumbled onto the dungeon's boss room entrance, like the final door just dared her to step in. Hinata swallows hard because he knows the next big test is about to slam into him. Cheyenne snatches his hand, and he's ready to lunge forward like they're about to blow this whole thing wide open. She grabs his hand and drags him forward, her excitement blasting through him like a contagious spark. They burst into a stone room and land on a massive circular platform. Hinata clocked the empty air where other explorers should have been, but Cheyenne was locked on the boss, zeroing in like nothing else mattered. She tells them the dungeon's entrance doesn't stay put. It scrambles to a new location after every single clear. With a wicked grin, she yanks him straight into the teleporter, like his personal space is just decorative. A blinding beam of light blasts out from the platform the moment it kicks into gear. Both of them lock eyes, and you can see pure shock blazing on their faces. They're yanked into a frozen cavern where a terrifying wolf is waiting to hunt. His sharp analysis pinpoints the boss. In seconds, Giga's the one weak to light. The ground rips with a thunderous tremor as the beast finally steps into the spotlight. It's the floor boss, an absolutely massive monster with power that hits like a tidal wave. Hinata's lungs tear open with terror, but Shion can't stop grinning. He's absolutely thrilled by the challenge. The beast explodes forward, jaws gaping wide, ready to crush its prey in one brutal strike. Hinata slams into it, head-on, with a brutal, straight-up punch. He shuts his eyes and drills the basics into his head. When it's a two-person party, both of them have to swing out front as vanguards. They broke formation, sweeping in from both sides to trap the monster. Cheyenne snaps at him to stay on the plan and track every one of its attacks. The beast's jaws start to glow, and that dangerous energy starts to spark with every heartbeat. She tells him the creature's about to start breathing fire. Yeah, a fire-breathing wolf, so why not go for it? Hinata fired off with lightning speed, barely slipping out of the way of that scorching blast. He slams into the ground, and the explosion's blast shudders the earth beneath him. With a sudden burst of speed, he rockets away, putting the flames in the rear view fast. He snaps his head back, rattled to the core, but miraculously unscathed. The wolf blasts a roaring torrent of fire that scorches the entire cavern to the ground. A colossal wave of ruin rockets straight for Cheyenne, wiping everything in its path. But she dug in her heels, ready to stare down the attack and take it head-on. Hinata can't move. She's frozen in pure horror, staring at the brutal size of the attack. Her weapon crackles with a concentrated pulse of raw, unstoppable power. A savage, determined grin blooms across her face. She blasts out a massive shockwave and wipes the flames clean off the battlefield. Hinata is left totally speechless after witnessing her jaw-dropping burst of power. Two unstoppable forces crash together, scorching the battlefield and plunging everything into total chaos. The beast roars again, refusing to be shaken even as her fierce counter lands. Cheyenne charges in and slams a brutal hit right on its head. The monster flinched back, then tensed up, ready to unleash its next deadly attack. Spotting his opening, Hinata bursts in from the side, lightning fast. He drops low and drives a bone-crushing kick straight into the beast's underbelly. Cheyenne tightens her grip on her weapons, ready to unleash another brutal attack. They spiral into a furious, synchronized storm, hitting the beast from both sides at once. With a final hard-throated roar, Hinata pours every ounce of himself into his next strike. He plunges from the sky and smashes his full weight onto the monster's back. The raw power of his strike slams that massive wolf straight into the dirt. Cheyenne just freezes there, utterly shell-shocked, as his overwhelming power crushes everything in the room. The beast is still, finally caught in stillness, like that rain of fiery terror just stopped for good. She erupts in celebration, screaming that Hinata has finally knocked it down. Hinata stares in disbelief, like she can't even accept that the battle is really over. Cheyenne smirks and flat out declares the monster won't ever rise again. They both burst into laughter, shocked at just how effortlessly they wiped out the floor boss. Hinata blurts out that it was all her doing. Then the unexpected praise hits her like a surprise punch. She shoots him a knowing look, instantly impressed by how humble he really is. Right after Battle 1, they surge back into the sunlit forest, ready to throw down again. They whipped around, eyes wide with shock. Right when she said it, the boss room entrance just disappeared, vanished completely, like it never existed. Hinata snatches a rare potion drop and stares at it in awe, instantly realizing it's worth a fortune. Cheyenne snaps out of the chaos and suddenly blurts that all that fighting has left her starving. With a bright, cheerful wave, she tells them, "Come on, let's head into town and grab a meal." She suddenly grabs onto his arm, and Hinata's head spins so hard she can't even think straight. She blinks at his sudden panic, then blurts, "What's wrong?" She taunts him, grinning as she warns, "If you let go, I'll vanish again just like before. Our boy is just trying to muscle through this social mess and stay alive." He demands her name, and she leans in close, so close, her expression becomes a locked secret. With a soft voice, she shoots off an early apology like she's bracing you for what's coming. Hinata is left totally stunned by how fast her tone flips, but she flashes a dazzling smile and swears she'll give it everything she's got. Their wild adventure shoves them out of the dungeon and straight into the chaos of the city. They suddenly realize they're trapped in the middle of noisy afternoon crowds, hemmed in on every side. Shion grips his arm like she owns him, and Hinata's squirming discomfort is on full display. Cheyenne notices something feels off in the city and blurt out, "What's wrong?" But Hinata's totally frozen in place, and panic is screaming across his face. Then he spots it. She's trembling like she's terrified of something lurking in the crowd. He blurts out her name, desperate to make sense of what's happening. She's clearly in full-on panic, drowning in the crowd closing in around them. He whips his head around, desperate to spot the source of her fear. A memory crashes in his sister, swamped by the same suffocating crowd. He can't stop wondering if Cheyenne's going through the same panic too, because social anxiety is apparently a family trait. Maybe something dark from her past still haunts her when she's surrounded by big crowds. She tilts her head toward him, panic blazing as she begs, "Tell me, how do I make this stop?" Her confident facade shattered to pieces. She clenches her fist hard, fighting the panic clawing its way up from her gut. Hinata's face tightens, and a fresh, unshakable resolve locks in. He still hears that same voice like a warning, telling him that every single person is weighed down by their own burdens. Cheyenne can only choke out a soft, painful apology. But he leans in and tells her, "Don't you dare apologize, there's nothing to be sorry for." He guides her down a quieter street, praying it'll calm everything down. But even a fresh view of the world still isn't shaking things up enough. He slowly rests his hand on her shoulder, holding her steady like the calm right before the storm. He leans in and asks her straight to the point what's causing her all that pain. She clamps both hands over her face, frozen, and can't get a single word out. It looks like the crowd isn't the only thing laying into her, because somehow she's getting assaulted like her ears are trapped in an unwanted podcast. Her eyes blow wide with pure disbelief as she jabs a finger at her ear. The city's roar crashes into her senses until everything else disappears. She's totally overwhelmed and drowning in a storm of sensations. Those sounds are tearing her head apart, giving her a splitting headache. She grips him tight, desperate to latch onto something solid amid the chaos. Her grip tightens like a lifeline, a desperate silent plea for help. She crumples to the ground, and the city's noise keeps roaring inside her head. She tilts her head up at him, and total despair crashes across her face. Without a second thought, he yanks her hands away and slams his palms over her ears. Cheyenne's eyes shoot wide, pure shock hits her the instant their contact slams into place. Hinata can only stare, watching a mask of worry creep across his face. He braces her in his arms, forcing the world's deafening noise to drown out. He can't believe it. How could she possibly live like this, day after day? She nervously fesses up with a sleek pair of high-tech earbuds. Hinata's jaw drops as she blurts, "Wait, why didn't you make me wear them?" She finally confesses she never wanted to, especially not while she was with him. He snatches the earbuds right out of her hand without missing a beat. He slips one gently into her ear, like a secret meant just for her. His face was locked in pure, laser-focused determination. The chaos around her finally starts to fade, and the world begins to go quiet. She lets out a small, pained apology, quietly taking the blame for every bit of trouble she caused. But Hinata is firing back, swearing the blame is all his because he should have noticed sooner. They lock eyes, and just like that, the disaster they were seconds from, it's gone saved at the last possible moment. He realizes these aren't made for music at all. They're built for total, crushing silence. He realizes his voice can't reach her anymore. He clenches his fist, seething she took all of this for him. That familiar, rock-solid determination flashes across his face. It's like an invisible wall just slammed into place between them. He's desperate to do anything at all to help her. But he's stuck, feeling powerless, desperately staring into the void like, what on earth am I even supposed to do? He still remembers Kamui, how she shielded her with everything he had, even when her own power tried to tear her apart. Cheyenne drops her gaze, swallowed by a silent world that won't let her go. With a trembling, desperate cry, he thrusts his hand forward. Rage and desperation slam through him as he screams for strength in silence. He throws his hands up and begs the universe to hand him its power. And the system fires up, handing him telepathy honestly, The universe's customer service is unreal. He strides off, and in his head, he's thanking his new partner for everything. Hinata stares downward, and that unreadable grim look says everything without him speaking. Cheyenne freezes because in that dead silence, someone says her name. She drops her gaze, and the world around her is still a total wreck, pure chaos everywhere. But his voice slices through the air so clearly it might as well be stamped in stone. He tells her, right to her face, that a sad expression absolutely doesn't fit her at all. She stammers in disbelief, because there's no way this can't possibly be real. She hears his voice, nothing else matters, just him, loud and clear. Hinata grins wide, his brand new skill is landing flawlessly. She's so overwhelmed, she sweeps him into a tight embrace. This kid's out here hoarding hugs like they're rare trading cards. Hinata never sees the embrace coming. She's completely blindsided the moment it hits. Cheyenne completely unravels, spilling every ounce of fear and pain she's been holding back. He shoots back a soft, reassuring smile. He realizes her earbuds weren't just headphones, they turned into a cage. He grips her tight because he knows she's been carrying this nightmare completely by herself. It's not a flawless fix, but right now it's the best we've got, and it'll do. She lifts her gaze, choking on tears as she screams his name. She blurts out a super messy thank you, but you can tell it's 100 heartfelt. He lets out this huge breath of relief the second he sees her right back to her usual self. Elsewhere, a hard-nosed military big shot leans in close, grilling a mysterious seller about something that doesn't add up. His superior tells him they've tried and tried, but every attempt to reach them has hit a dead end. This discovery hit at the absolute worst possible moment, like the universe picked the worst time to pull the trigger. He rips open the case and reveals the massive magic stone Hinata sold. His subordinate protests, but the man snaps his hand up and waves the worries away. With a smug grin, he claims Japan is the safest place on Earth. And trust me, this place is packed with two of the world's greatest explorers. So tell me, what are we supposed to do with that endless magic stone? The Kamui and Kagura families have already slid in their offers to buy it. The official's jaw drops, stunned, because they can't figure out who leaked the intel. Two fresh faces burst out of the shadows, and the whole scene suddenly feels 10 times more dangerous. They just shrug and confess, yeah, I leaked it. Honestly, that was way too easy. The official can only let out a bitter sigh as his day spirals into even more chaos. The official unleashes a furious explosion of rage after the massive security leak rocks everything. A Kamui family woman steps in and demands that the stone be handed over right now. But a man from the rival Kagura family won't back down for a second. He refuses to let anyone beat him. The two start a heated argument, each insisting their family brought the most to the table. Both of them spun toward the official, demanding he pick a side right now. Their argument detonates into a full-on standoff, and somehow family get-togethers are still supposed to be fun with these two around. Akari glares like steel, her determination won't bend. Tuma drops a bombshell. His sister Cheyenne is suffering from a brutal, painful condition. Akari shoots back, explaining that her sister Kamui has been living alone in isolation. Both of them are convinced that this mysterious magic stone is their only shot at survival. Tuma stares at her, and suddenly she understands just how unshakable her conviction really is. Akari's stare snaps into focus. She's not backing down, not for a second. Both of them are ready to burn down their whole lives for their younger sisters. Tuma makes it crystal clear he's not letting this one shot slip through his fingers. The pressure in that room finally reaches its breaking point. They roar back and forth, eyes blazing, and it's clear they're about to settle everything with raw force. But then the officials swoop in, shutting it down and banning them from fighting. Akari warns that if they clash, Japan is finished, pure disaster waiting to happen. The official slams the warning down, hand it over, or I'll smash the stone myself. It's that brutal vibe. If they can't own it, they'll torch it before anyone else gets it. With the two rivals finally crushed, he reluctantly stepped back and let them stand down. He throws out a compromised track down the cellar and grabbed that other stone. He brings Kagura Tuma into the spotlight, Japan's third strongest explorer, and Kamui Akari, the nation's second strongest force. Meanwhile, Cheyenne beams with pure excitement, her spirit soaring higher than ever. She's changed, like the pain that once pinned her down is finally gone. Their wild adventure finally guides them into a cozy, quiet little cafe. They step in, and the welcoming staff greets them the moment they enter. Hinata flashes a smile, but Cheyenne goes wide-eyed, totally thrown off by how that moment clicks. He leans in and swears he's mouthing the words so his telepathy lines up perfectly. Cheyenne is bursting with joy, convinced his thoughtful solution is downright perfect. Cheyenne can't contain the excitement and slaps their order down at the counter. She swings in like a showstopper and proudly serves this huge, decadent-looking drink. He asks, "Is this what you wanted?" And she beams and says, "Yes, this is exactly it." She finally admits there's always been one thing burning in her. She's wanted to share it with someone, her whole life. With a sly smile, she hands him the first sip and dares him to taste what's coming next. Hinata takes one bite and freezes sweet hits first. Then a sharp bitterness rolls in, perfectly balanced like a flavor punch. Cheyenne flashes a smirk, daring him to admit he's impressed by her pick. He flashes a smile and thinks, wow, the way she plays reminds him of his sister. And yeah, that's a dangerous, bold comparison, my friend. But the second she smiles, that cheerful look curdles into something dark. She steps right up in his space, eyes blazing, and demands he stop comparing her to anybody. And just like that, she slips right back to her drink with a smug grin. Hinata lets out a shaky laugh totally out of her depth, like she doesn't have a clue what to do next. With her drink finally gone, she turns her eyes to the very next stop they're about to hit. She yanks his arm out of nowhere, and his whole focus snaps back like he's been slapped. With a wicked grin, she snaps that their time is running out and yanks him off before he can even blink. And just like that, their wild, non-stop ride through the city kicks off. Their wild adventure whisks them from arcades straight into the chaos of crane games. They dig into a meal together, cracking up like old friends, while the afternoon sun blazes down on them. She jumps in and helps him hunt down some fresh new clothes. Cheyenne flashes a brand new pair of earrings, and her excitement hits everybody like a wave. Hinata trails after them, clutching their haul with a wide-eyed, blissful daze. As the sun starts to sink, their whole day begins to fizzle out like it's running out of time. But she drags him through the gates of a gigantic estate, proudly declaring, "This is where we live." Hinata can't even get words out. This mansion makes the Kamui estate look like a tiny starter home. But there she stood at the gate, arms crossed tight, like she'd already decided what happened next. An awkward silence crashes between them as she refuses to budge. He shouts her name, and right away his gut tells him something is terribly wrong. With a soft voice, she confesses she has no intention of going back. Her eyes burn with a sadness so deep it feels impossible to read. He tries to reason with her, begging her to remember her parents will be crushed with worry. She waves off his worry like it's nothing at all, pure dismissal. But then Hinata snaps to it. She finally realizes she's Kagura Shion. He snaps, "Why didn't you ever tell me your full name?" She lays it out plainly. The Kagura family is just as terrifyingly strong as the Kamui clan. She refused to let her family name change how he treated her. No special treatment, no different rules. She quietly clocks just how kind he's been to her the whole time. With her palms pressed to the gate, she blurts his name one final time. She leans in and asks, "Promise me you'll still make time for me in the future." Hinata gets blindsided, and a nervous, flustered smile bursts across his face. He promises her he'll do it, and she drops her gaze, finally letting out a breath of relief. With a sly grin, he tells her, "Relax, we're a party now." Her whole face blooms with a real, radiant smile that lights up the room. The very next day, Hinata storms back to the academy. But the whole school feels locked down. Stern military guards are posted everywhere, watching your every move. He can't ignore the fact that security just got way tighter around him. He can't stop wondering what on earth could have triggered this whole mess. One of the guards spots him from way across the yard. Hinata instantly panics. His heart slams against his chest like it's trying to escape. He spots a sign that's calling for the owner of a magic stone he recognizes instantly. He freezes when he spots that it's the very same stone he sold for 300,000 yen. Yeah, this is painfully awkward. He's scrambling to understand why the whole military is hunting him down. The guard whips around, eyes blazing with suspicion. He can feel the guy's stare drilling into him, like it's hunting for something. Hinata totally freezes, fighting with all his might to look harmless. And the system hands him a poker face because the universe truly has a knack for every single moment. He forces his face into a flawless mask, pure calm, zero clues, completely unreadable. The guards whip their heads away, totally tricked by his sudden calm. Now that the danger's gone, he storms straight to the buyback center. He decides to speed run, selling off the rest of his materials. And he's so shocked he can't even speak, staring at the mountain of cash he just raked in. He studies the price list, and the gap in value hits him like a punch, huge, undeniable, shocking. Then it hits him like a lightning bolt, stunning him into silence. Those monster magic stones are basically worthless, barely worth a thing. He can't wrap his head around it. Why are they selling for peanuts when his first big sale cost him so much? He yanks a stone from the wolf boss, and his gut twists because he's bracing for the worst. The machine sizes it up and blows your mind with a jaw-dropping price tag of 150 million yen. Hinata's brain fully fries the moment it faces that impossible number. A wave of stunned silence rips through the building. His shock screams so loudly it turns every head. Panic hits him hard. He's convinced the machine has crashed again, just like always. Our boy is trying to make sense of this chaos because at this point, nothing even feels real anymore. He stares at the memory of that military notice, and then bam, the pieces snap together in his head. His face tightens, and grim horror creeps in like a nightmare, finally realizing you're awake. Shaking with terror, he sells the rest of his loot on the spot and bolts out immediately. He cashes out, and suddenly, his life detonates into something way more complicated than ever. Later on, Cheyenne grins and soaks up every last bite after their celebratory meal. But then it hits her she forgot to order dessert. Hinata realizes his hunger-resistant skill isn't meant for everyday life, it's only there for emergencies. She blurts out where he vanished to, and he nods like it's no big deal. He says he was at Dungeon E9. Cheyenne tells you, these materials don't just sell, they fetch higher prices than even the D-rank stuff. Since D-rank dungeons are packed to the brim, the treasure you claw out is way less valuable. She's convinced E90 is the perfect money-making jackpot. Hinata steels herself to keep farming that dungeon, hunting those rare potions until she finds them. The very next day, life at the academy kicks back into gear business as usual, like nothing ever happened. He strides across the school grounds, and it's like his new confidence is pounding with every step. He takes a breath and stares at the whirlwind that swallowed the last 3 weeks since he first signed up. He catches a glimpse of Kamui far away and shouts her name at the top of his lungs. The second they spot them, the other students whip into whispers about that rumored couple. He's totally stunned when they start calling her the Ice Princess. Kamui finally tells her this cold personality isn't an insult. It's a nickname she earned for exactly that icy demeanor. Hinata shoots back a cold, unblinking stare, pure solidarity, and you can tell he's got one mission: help. But the second they show up, every other student clocks it instantly. Hinata keeps a calm face, eyes locked on her with nothing but raw focus. He lunges a step forward, ready to seize the day. With a bright grin and a cheerful wave, he leans in and tells her good morning like it's the best news of the day. Kamui freezes in shock, blurting out his name like he can't believe what he just saw. He snaps his skill to life and wipes out her aura before she even steps foot in the school. She can't shake the feeling that his power has somehow grown even deadlier. He shuts it down fast, oblivious to the crowd closing in with suspicion. The rumor mill explodes. People can't stop asking why the Ice Princess is hanging out with a level 0. Hinata can practically feel the stares on his skin. The crushing weight of his reputation comes rushing back. They stomp into their classroom, and that tense, buzzing dread follows right behind them. Inside, Guy and his crew are hanging in silence, then fire up with matching furious glares. Hinata suddenly realizes he might have to start staggering when he shows up. The whole class's pressure is starting to crush him from the inside. But it's Guy's silent, unblinking stare that hits the hardest, so intense it'll send chills down your spine. The bully's eyes blaze with cold, simmering red. Hinata shoots back a shaky, nervous smile like it's all he's got left. Later that day, he slips up to the school rooftop, desperate for a little peace. But right when he finally slips into that calm moment of reflection, something is about to slam that peace shut. An enraged voice, familiar as a punch to the gut, shouts his name from right behind him. He lets out a deep sigh, because he knows this only ever happens when Kamui's nowhere in sight. He steps right in front of him and sneers, mocking him for getting too close to the Ice Princess. But that name, those words finally hit the one spot he can't ignore. He knows the world reads her as cold and unreachable, like she's made of distance. A girl smothers her own feelings because if she lets them spill, her enormous power will tear everything apart. An isolated prodigy who clawed her way to that lonely title, driven by nothing but fear. Hinata clenches his teeth, feeling it in his bones that this isn't the real her. He clenches his fist hard, and her struggle hits his mind like it just happened. He finally knows the truth, the girl with that real, radiant smile. And for the first time ever, Hinata snatches the bully by the collar and tells him loud and clear she's no ice princess. He bellows that Guy has no clue what she battles every single day. He roars at him, demanding he stop judging her just by how she looks. With a final rage-soaked scream, he orders him never to pull that stunt again. And the system answers his righteous rage by handing him the intimidation skill. All he can do is choke out a terrified gasp, totally overwhelmed. A dark, menacing aura clamps around Hinata, and his rage turns into something you can literally feel. His face went stone cold, and his eyes filled with a raw power this power guy had never seen before. The bully's sweating buckets, hit by a fear so heavy it feels bigger than any monster he's ever faced. But his pride won't let him bow out. He steels himself and gets ready to throw down. He lunges at Hinata, pointing and blasting her with the accusation that she's just playing hero. But his crushing kick gets snuffed out instantly, like the block takes zero effort at all. Hinata's eyes stay icy calm. His focus locks in tight as he stands his ground. Suddenly, a brand new girl bursts into the scene and blurts out Hinata's name, stunned to the bone. Two boys are trapped in a brutal standstill, neither one can budge. Guy freezes in shock as Hinata's foot slams clean into his chin. Hinata drops his gaze, and that icy, unforgiving look hardens even more. The girl grabs him and pleads, begging him to stop. She can't let him go running off too far. Her voice snaps him back to reality, and his eyes fly open in shock. She darts to the side as Guy grumbles about yet another princess crashing the scene. Hinata's mind goes blank when she spots her own sudden appearance, totally stunned and completely lost. She leans in and demands, "So you really were about to end Guy for good?" He looks down and tells them straight up, "I'm not the bad guy, I was just defending Kamui's honor." He shoots up to his feet, swearing this fight isn't finished. But Hinata cuts in and tells him to quit trying to steal the spotlight. With a sharp flick of his wrist, he launches the bully flying backward like he weighs nothing. That punch ripples through Guy's whole arm, blasting a shockwave from his fist to his shoulder. Hinata's eyes blow wide in pure shock because his strength is way more insane than she ever expected. The guy drops to the ground hard, utterly crushed and fully defeated. Hinata's jaw drops because he realizes the hit he just took wasn't serious at all. It was only a tiny tap. The girl yanks him away, and the old bully is left on the rooftop, staring up at the sky as regret hits him hard about every choice he ever made. He's dumped on the ground, and his pride gets pulverized into nothing. Hinata whips her gaze backward, still trying to wrap her mind around what just exploded in front of her. The girl stays right there beside him as the rooftop showdown finally slips into silence. She shoots him a question: was he really seconds away from going that far? Hinata can only shoot back a shaky, panicked fluster, no clever words, just pure overwhelm. Her eyes shine with real, from-the-heart worry for him. She tells him, "I know you're not a bad person, but I couldn't stop worrying." That grim what-if finally crashes into him like the world just dared him to imagine worse. The mere thought of it has left him utterly horrified. The guy backs off, turning his back like he's quietly conceding, no words at all. But Hinata knows the truth. He did it to protect Kamui's honor. He swears he never meant to take it this far. The girl yanks his arm and boom, his entire focus snaps straight to her. He can only stammer, totally frozen in the chaos of the moment. Our guy is totally not built for this kind of social chaos. Right then, another voice slices through the air and calls his name. It's Kamui. Now he's trapped in a training hall, stuck right between those two girls. From the rooftop, the girl finally steps forward and tears away the mystery, introducing herself as Kagura Shion. And Kamui hands over her own name in exchange. They lock hands, and that tension is so brutal it feels like you could slice through it. Hinata is totally clueless about what's even happening. He can't believe he's standing right in the middle of this standoff. Shion pushes them to handle Kamui's freezing aura first, then both of them snap their heads toward him, demanding he step in and help. Our boy can only manage a shaky, terrified little nervous smile, like his world's on the verge of cracking. All three of them huddle on the floor, and the tension is so thick it feels like an awkward meeting that can't breathe. Kamui slams Shion with an accusation bullying him, and Shion snaps back hard, denying it with everything she's got. Hinata scrambles to get it through everyone's head. Shion wasn't acting up out of malice, he was just terrified for him. Kamui's mouth drops open because this revelation leaves him utterly speechless. Once the misunderstanding was cleared up, the whole room fell into a sudden peaceful calm. Kamui slowly points at herself, and doubt hits her face like a punch. Hinata can only stare, trapped in silence as his face stays totally unreadable. Cheyenne cuts through the silence and snaps everyone's attention back onto him. She fires off one simple question: does he really think he's weak? Hinata can barely get the words out. His shock just bursts through in a stutter. But Cheyenne doesn't buy a word of it because he's still replaying that brutal fight with the troll in his head. She stuns Kakamui with a play-by-play of exactly how he dropped it in one single crushing blow. He tries to play it off, saying he just caught a weak spot. Yeah, sure, that's the story. Cheyenne cuts him off on the spot, firing back that nobody normal could pull something like that off. With a smug grin, she whips her focus straight to Kamui. She leans in close and drops a bombshell she knows all about Hinata's special power. Hinata's eyes go wide, he panics, and flat out denies he's got any power like that. Cheyenne just points at him, and it snaps him back to that whole disappearing act like a fresh bruise. Kamui tries to step in for him, but you can tell she's completely thrown off and flustered. Her jaw drops to the floor when she finally realizes he can really turn invisible. Cheyenne tells him, "I can't sense you at all, but I can still hear your voice." Hinata suddenly realizes she isn't just gifted, she's got a special power of her very own. She snaps open her S-rank power because the moment she does, she starts hearing everything around her, like the whole world's whispering directly into her head. That's why she clings to those earbuds and why everyone calls her the Bug Princess. The insult snaps into focus in Hinata's head, and suddenly those guys' cruel words come back to hit her all at once. Kamui stares and a brand new realization hits her like lightning. But Hinata's face snaps into ruthless, no-holds-barred rage. Cheyenne leans in and tells them the world has tagged both of them with savage, cruel nicknames. He finally gets it, people size them up in a heartbeat before they know a single damn thing. He steps in to defend them both, calling out their real, shining qualities. Cheyenne is stunned when his passionate defense bursts out like a wildfire. He clenches his fist so hard it shakes, swearing he'll never forgive the people who tortured him. He sits right between them, stone still, silent, like a shield that keeps the whole world from getting too close. Cheyenne needles him, then quizzes, "Why are you so damn worked up?" But she bursts into laughter, admitting it doesn't feel so terrible when he's the one standing between them and danger. Kamui gives a soft, knowing smile, like he's right there with you, fully in on the moment. Cheyenne's smile blooms with real relief, like the weight finally lifts off her chest. Hinata is left totally speechless, staring at how wild their reactions get. But the shock crashes out of him, replaced by a calm, unbreakable resolve. He clenches his fists, fighting to hold up the crushing weight bearing down on him. He starts pouring out his explanation, but his voice cracks under the pressure. He leans in and tells them, "I don't have some secret S-rank strength," and then hits them with the truth it's the exact opposite. He was born as a level 0, and he's been trapped at that dead-end number ever since. The two S-rank prodigies are so stunned, they can't even get words out. Everyone's been preaching to him his whole life that he'll never have a future. They started calling him the eternal level 0, and now he's fighting tooth and nail to break free of it. He lays it all out how brutally hard he's worked, grinding through training and studies with zero mercy. He showed up at that academy chasing a brand new life, praying this time everything would finally click. But that old bully shadowed him right behind, and nothing, absolutely nothing changed. Wherever he goes, that one number relentlessly hunts him down. A familiar rage surges up like fire, and it's aimed straight at the whole world. He can't stop asking himself why he's the only one left standing. Why was it him of everyone who got stuck with this cursed fate? Suddenly, Cheyenne's hand clamps over his, then she blurts his name like it's an emergency. He jolts upward, eyes wide, shocked by that sudden touch. Kamui tells him she's thrilled he showed up at this school. Thanks to him, she finally found her way back to her family and rebuilt those broken bonds. She looks him in the eye and credits him with every bit of her new strength. Cheyenne locks eyes with him, her gaze razor-sharp and perfectly understanding. Our boy can only shoot back this stiff, awkward smile because compliments. Yeah, he's terrible at them. Both of them break into smiles, basically confessing, we just wanted someone to finally notice us. He realizes this isn't just chance anymore, it's a brand new reason to live. A reason that went way deeper than just keeping his family fed. The moment they accepted him, that weight pressed down on his chest, steady, real, and stronger than anything he's ever felt. Kamui grabs his thanks and pours out her gratitude because he just showed her what it feels like to be warmed by someone else. Cheyenne beams and thanks him for finally making it to her when all hope was fading. And now Hinata's stuck right in the middle of two S-rank prodigies. Then it hits him, his struggles suddenly feel tiny, because what they've been through is on a whole other level. With a radiant, bashful grin, he beams and thanks them for their kindness. A wave of gratitude crashes over him so big, not even words can hold it. But Cheyenne suddenly jabs her hand up, shouting, "Stop her!" She snaps that any more self-pity is officially banned, no exceptions. Then Kamui cuts in immediately, dropping her own complaint, and suddenly this doesn't feel like a conversation anymore. It feels like an intervention. She's done with it no more using her family name, not anymore. She leans in, demanding to know why he refuses to call her by her first name, just like he does with Cheyenne. The moment the request hits, Hinata's brain goes full system meltdown. The thought of dialing Hinata makes his heartbeat slam like it's trying to break out. The girls burst into laughter, teasing that they can practically hear his heart pounding out of his chest. Cheyenne then drops a fresh nickname on him, Hina-chan. She insists this is the one move that cuts out every single bit of confusion. Kamui practically bursts with joy, instantly nodding and agreeing with the idea with zero hesitation. Cheyenne leans in close, flashing that smug, knowing look like she's about to blow his mind. Our boy can only blush, totally swamped by all that attention because this is his final boss social interaction. He tries to cover his face, but the pressure keeps crashing down until he can't take it anymore. With a shaky breath, he finally forces out her name. Kamui can't stop smiling. He's left blushing, buzzing with pure joy over that simple gesture. Hinata looks like he's 1 second away from blowing up like a human firework. The girls can only burst into laughter as he bolts off in pure embarrassment. Cheyenne then blurts out that she wants to run the exact same training. She drops to her knees, begging him to help her wrestle control of her own power. Hinata hesitates, but finally gives in and his stomach tightens as he realizes he has no clue what he just signed up for. The two S ranks snap into formation, bracing themselves for whatever hits next. With grit in his eyes, Hinata snaps, "All right, let's start." He's standing right in front of them, just one lone fighter staring down a power so massive it feels unreal. He shuts his eyes tight and steels himself for the trial that's about to crash down on him. His eyes narrow to a razor point, like nothing else in the world exists for him. A blinding flash of light explodes out of the two S ranks. Their combined power hits like a thunderbolt, shaking the entire academy to its foundations. Kamui clenched her teeth hard, trying to wrestle the crushing surge of energy back under control. Cheyenne dug in her heels, refusing to budge an inch. The two of them crumpled down together, clinging to each other like lifelines. Cheyenne Pants stared at him, stunned, and blurted, "How do you survive this every single day?" Kamui blurts out that last week wasn't even close to this intense, and yeah, it's like they've been leveling up fast. Hinata bursts in, shoving drinks into their hands, and blurts out, "Are you guys okay?" Kamui tilts her gaze upward, cheeks burning as she realizes just how much stronger he's gotten. Cheyenne snaps at him, warning him never ever use that power on anyone else. He's totally thrown off, like his intimidation power just snapped on by itself, and now he can't even explain what happened. When the girls finally collapse from pure exhaustion, he snaps at them to be way more careful next time. As the day dies down, the academy settles into yet another quiet afternoon until trouble decides to show up. Later, he swings by to check on them and make sure they're fully back on their feet. Cheyenne snaps that the whole ordeal was straight up traumatizing. Yeah, a little dramatic, but she'll let it slide. But Kamui just stands apart, wearing a deep thinking look that says she's already figured something out. She leans in and tells him, "I've got a favor to ask you, something you can't ignore." Hinata shoots her a shocked look like, "Wait, what do you possibly need from me?" Their real destination finally clicks the Grand Kamui estate again. Her mother, Irina, beams at him with a blinding, way too cheerful welcome. He steps inside, briefcase clenched in his hand, and the moment he's there, he screams, "Wrong place, wrong time." Kamui leans in and tells him, "Yep, this time, I'm not coming alone. I brought another friend with me." Irina's grin slips away as she demands, "So who is this new girl?" The three of them linger outside while Kamui leans in and asks, "So, you staying for dinner?" She confesses her mum's been asking to share a meal, and honestly, she wants that same thing too. Hinata snaps to the truth. Her icy presence has even stalled her from sharing a normal family meal. He tells her they can bounce any time if she's not ready, and her face lights up with pure joy at his offer. She beams at him, and that smile feels strong enough to light up an entire city. Kamui whirls toward Shion, practically beckoning her to jump in with them too. Cheyenne freezes for a second, visibly squirming at the invitation. Irina's smile vanished the second she saw Kagura in her home, and pure shock hit her like a punch. Cheyenne tightly grips her chest, nerves screaming as the whole family tension presses in on her. Hinata remembers the brutal rivalry burning between those two legendary families. But right when Irina's mood twists, she breaks into this sudden, bright smile and welcomes everyone like it's the best thing ever. The three teenagers are left utterly stunned as she makes a total 180. A sharp burst from a bamboo fountain slices right through the silence. Inside, Cheyenne spots how wildly different their family homes really are. Hinatita's eyes dart around, and you can practically see a fresh question snapping into his mind. He bursts into the room and spots Kamui's uncle dangling from the ceiling like it's the most shocking thing in the world. An old man slams to the ground, shouting that a Kagura just rolled into town. Hinata's eyes widen in shock, so it hits her. This has to be Shion's uncle. The old man leans in and tells him, "Don't stress, nothing's going to go wrong." Then he spots it instantly. Hinata has gotten way stronger lately. He muses that this growth has to be the power at work. Meanwhile, our boy is completely clueless about what he's even saying. Irina burst back into the scene and declared, "Dinner's finally ready." The family totally blindsides themselves. There's the old man, suddenly joining their group like he's always belonged there. Irina pulls him into their meal, and he wastes no time, he accepts. A huge, jaw-dropping feast sprawls out in front of them, like the universe just opened a banquet for heroes. After 10 long years, Kamui finally gets to sit down and savor a warm family meal for the first time. That old man practically yanks Hinata into his arms and demands she return every single day. Hinata realizes he's got to go straight to the dorm mother and talk this out. A hush crawls over the Grand Kamui estate as night finally settles in. As evening fades, Hinata and Shion swing into action and gear up to leave. Hinata's eyes suddenly blaze with a brand new kind of resolve. In the arena, the old man and the others watch in awe as they march away, because right before their eyes, a real family is finally forming. Hinata strolls beneath the full moon, the word family burning in his mind like a promise he can't shake. A real, soul-deep smile bursts across his face. Outside, Cheyenne finally admits she's been a bundle of nerves the whole time. Shion's jaw drops as he finally clocks it. The old man is none other than the legendary Kamui Jizu. Hinata blurts out, "So are you famous?" And he gets hit with her answer. She says he's a living legend. They say he's the absolute strongest dude in all of Japan, period. Hinata finally gets it still. You can't judge a book by the cover hanging up on the ceiling. After the family visit ends, Cheyenne leans in and asks what he's got planned for tomorrow. He leans in and tells her he's going to lock himself in and grind dungeons solo for a while. A decision he makes right there provokes a furious, puffed-out cheek from Cheyenne. She snaps back right in the moment, reminding him this isn't practice anymore. They're at a real party now. She whips her head away and admits, shaky as hell, that she doesn't even know what her own schedule looks like. Honestly, it doesn't matter, she can't even hear those lessons, so she's just going through the motions on autopilot. She grins like she knows a secret and straight up admits she'd way rather spend that time with him. A single sentence hits him like lightning, leaving our poor boy totally, completely, utterly flustered. He stammers and blurts out, "Okay," then agrees to team up for the dungeon tomorrow. Then panic hits. He suddenly remembers he forgot all about Kamui. The next day rolls in, and with it, boom, a brand new chance to change everything. The academy drops the news an intense special curriculum is coming for every would-be explorer. The teacher leans in and warns them this path isn't a walk. It's a non-stop dance with death. Elsewhere, Akari, Kamui's sister, stares into the distance and insists this was a decision made by choice fully, freely, no chains attached. And Xi'an's brother, Tuma, clocked it right away. This school is pushing them forward. Hinata can't contain her excitement. She's been waiting for the new program to kick off. He whips around to Kamui like Kamui instantly feels his eyes on him. She flicks a glance over her shoulder, calm on the outside, impossible to read. She leans in after class and whispers, "Do you have a minute to talk?" The second they're back, the whole class huddles up and starts whispering like they've just spotted something dangerous. Later, they finally cross paths on the rooftop, quiet, empty and waiting like it knows something's about to happen. Cheyenne bursts in with a bright shout, practically vibrating with excitement to jump into the meeting. She realizes his telepathy can reach nearly anywhere across campus. With a dazzling flick, she unfurls a picnic blanket for all three of them. She suggests they make this place their new everyday lunch spot. Hinata grins and thinks, "Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea." Kamui steps in and flashes two fancy engraved lunchboxes, each one stamped with her family crest. She tells him her mum was over the moon, so she cooked lunch for the whole gang. Then she yanks out a third box so absurdly gigantic, it's basically a joke, all from her bag. Hinata can only stare at her school bag and wonder how on earth it even works. All three of them grin and dig into their rooftop feast together, like nothing in the world can ruin the moment. But Hinata's got something huge to tell Kamui, something he can't keep waiting anymore. He drops the bombshell that he and Sean already formed their own party. The news hits Kamui like a knockout punch, leaving him totally, utterly stunned. He goes, "After this, we're heading straight for a dungeon." Kamui just gives a quiet, knowing nod, like he's saying everything without a single word. Shion soaks up the sudden tension like it's made for him, and somehow he's acting like everything's totally fine. Seeing her disappointment, Hinata snaps into action and makes a proposal. He steps up and officially invites Kamui to team up with them as a two-person crew. Her eyes flare wide as disbelief hits. She can't even process what she's hearing. She blurts out, stammering as she demands, "Are you really sure you're okay with this?" He grins and tells her that her strength would be a massive game-changer for them. But she's scared she'll only end up slowing them down. Cheyenne smirks and dares him to try it, then says she might just let it happen. Kamui fires back on the spot, refusing to let Shion try to take over the whole moment. With a fresh blaze in her eyes, she swears she'll give it everything she's got. She drops into a deep bow, pleading for them to let her join the party. Hinata flashes a warm, bright smile right back at them. Cheyenne breaks into a laugh and officially throws you into the team like it's your time to shine. Kamui's face lights up with a radiant, bashful smile. With a gasp of joy, she throws her yes in the air, and just like that, the strongest party is officially assembled. Their very first mission yanks them straight back into Dungeon E90. Hinata stares in shock as a flawless clone of himself slips the attack like it knows exactly where it's coming from. The monster gets launched into the air by a brutal strike you can't even see. Cheyenne blurts out a warning as the beast rockets through the sky. A hand clamps down on the hilt of a katana still snug in its sheath. Kamui braces herself as the monster lunges straight at her. She yanks her blade free and gets ready to unleash the very first form of the Kamui style. The beast erupts in a ferocious, desperate roar that shakes the air. Her gaze slices through everything focused so hard it feels unbreakable. With one blazing azure flash, she blasts the creature straight into the air. The strike crashes in like a tidal wave of pure, unshakable power. The monster rams straight into a tree, and its brutal charge gets totally shattered. Kamui lets out a calm breath, like the fight's already over, locked and loaded. And yeah, he's a total overachiever. She snaps it shut with one last perfectly clean strike. Hinata and Shion are left staring, totally frozen in shock. Cheyenne is absolutely stunned by how strong she is, even with her S-rank power out of the picture. Kamui flashes back a bright, humble smile, like he's got nothing to prove. Hinata just stands there, utterly glued to her skill, like she's watching magic happen. But the trees keep whispering, like something big is sprinting toward them right now. Cheyenne lets out a thunderous roar and vows she'll never be beaten by her brand-new rival. Then another monster barrels straight in, a wild blur of fur and pure rage. Cheyenne rockets into the air, ready to collide head-on with the incoming attack. She brings her weapon down hard, grinning like she's got no doubt left. A brutal storm of hard-hitting strikes crashes down, smashing straight through the creature's defenses. With a snap, her weapon blasts outward chain whip, launching to latch onto her foe and yank them into her trap. Hinata's jaw drops as she realizes she's staring at a one-of-a-kind magic weapon. Cheyenne leans in and says this tool isn't ordinary. It's forged from monster materials, like something built for a purpose. The chain bites down around the beast and yanks it to a dead stop. With a savage yank, she hurls it down and drives it into the ground. She tells them more are coming, and trust me, she's dead right. Hinata's standing there, completely swamped by the chaos, like he's only been dragged along for moral support. Kamui's eyes lock in like a blade, and her power blasts wide open for everyone to see. Cheyenne rockets into battle like a hurricane, wiping out monsters with pure, effortless speed. Hinata suddenly gets it, his party's strength is unreal, and he can't land a single move. He cranes his neck to the sky, wondering if he's really meant to be here at all. Kamui is left totally speechless because he can't stop feeling useless. He just stands there, claiming his only real weapon, monster dismantling. Shion taunts Kamui, grinning like, there are some things in this world you just don't get to lose. Hinata can't help but stare, totally baffled like what on earth are they even talking about? He keeps his distance, staring at them, wondering if there's even a way he can help. For now, all he does is smash monsters and haul the loot, basically the party's official pack mule. But all that experience doesn't just help him, it unlocks a brand new power floor exploration. Suddenly, a towering grid-like dome slams into place over the entire forest. Hinata's eyes go wide with shock as he realizes he can see the dungeon's whole layout at once. His fresh skill lights up the map, showing him exactly where every monster and treasure chest is hiding. He blurts them out with pure excitement, finally able to make his mark on the team. The girls just freeze, eyes wide, stunned, speechless by his sudden bombshell. He leads them to a secret teleporter, and the moment they step in, it snaps to life. They found it right there, the entrance to the real boss room. Now that they've got this new power, they can even spot the secret paths Shion's already locked in and ready to roll. They push deeper, trailing his lead straight into the unknown. Cheyenne snaps his name out loud, and you can see pure shock light up her face. Kamui stammered, desperate to snag his attention. She leans in and asks, "Can I be the one to take down this boss, me, solo?" With a fierce stare, she vows she's ready to put her training to the test. Hinata and Cheyenne are hit with total shock by her sudden request. He leans in and asks if she's talking about her ice god's protection, the very power she's never once dared to unleash in a fight. He clocks it instantly. She's not just chasing power, she's craving the very force that's haunted her for years. Her eyes lock in no doubt, left she's ready to take on this challenge head first. He nods and agrees, then he snaps that she better not strain herself too far. And then Kamui steps into the spotlight alone, facing that massive, menacing wolf. She clamps her blade tight, and her friends stare from a safe distance. Hinata and Xian can only stand at the edge of the fight, cheering like their voices are the only weapons they've got. She sinks in a deep breath that steadies her instantly, and nothing can shake her focus. She digs in her heels, and a roaring wave of ice surges out from her boots. A surge of raw power starts to roar around her, building higher and higher. She finally vows to break this curse for good, and take it down for good, to finally master the ice god's protection once and for all. She knows one tiny slip in focus could turn everything catastrophic in an instant. And there's Hinata right by his side, throwing down his total, unwavering support like a promise. He vows to honor whatever choice she makes, no matter what happens next. She can feel it, she's stronger than she's ever been, and there's no going back. And that's why Hinata showed up, because she was there to step in and help her. One single step and she detonates her full power. Hinata just stood there, frozen in shock, as her resolve hit like a spark and turned everything upside down. She lunges straight ahead, all set to smash her way into a fight with that massive beast. For the first time, she finally steps up and dares to face the power that's been hers all along. The wolf bursts out with a scorching blaze, blasting the air like a furious furnace. But Kamui refuses to budge, freezing the fire with every step. A raging wall of ice blasts up from the ground, crashing straight into the incoming attack. She fires up the second form of the Kamui sword style, ready to unleash it. The beast roars at the top of its lungs, totally clueless about what's about to hit it. In a single soul-crushing flash, she slices straight through the flames. Her strike slashes through the cavern, dropping everything around her into absolute zero. The blade snaps in right on target, slicing the beast's power and stopping it dead. The ice surges outward, sealing the monster inside a deadly frozen tomb. Her blade stays spotless because the fight was decided long before anyone even blinked. The wolf stands locked in place, utterly frozen, an ice-cold monument to her sheer power. The boss room has been transformed into a deadly winter wonderland. Come on, we can see the strain, and it's clearly starting to take its toll. Hinata's mouth drops open. He's utterly stunned by what he just sees. Cheyenne feels the cavern's brutal cold slam into her like a living force. She finally gets it. This is what makes an S-rank power truly terrifying. Meanwhile, our boy is still trying to catch up with what he just witnessed. The fight is finished, and all that's left is a dead cold silence that hangs in the air. Hinata strides forward, shouting her name into the dead cold silence. His face flickers with pure awe, and that real gut-deep worry shows through like it's right under the skin. He shoots his hand out, like he can yank her away from the edge of disaster. She can barely get the words out, only a whisper of his name, so soft it almost disappears. She asks him straight up, does her power disgust him? And honestly, that fear has been haunting her for years. The question hits him like a lightning bolt, and he's left utterly, completely stunned. She spins away, her heart bracing for the sting of his rejection. But the shock doesn't last, rage ignites in him, and fierce resolve snaps into place. He holds tight to his promise he'll protect her no matter what. A promise he swears he'll keep right here, right now. Without a single word, he yanks her into a sudden, iron-tight hug. He tells her, with absolute certainty, that nothing could ever make him feel disgusted, never, not once. His words wrap around her like instant comfort, and she doesn't need anything else. He's fully aware this power could blow up and hurt anyone around him, and he swears right then and there that he'll be the one who protects them no matter what. A familiar power starts to build in his hand, charging like a storm about to break. He declares with fire in his eyes that he can finally unleash this power for her. A cocky grin bursts across his face. Seriously, this kid's power-ups are getting way out of control. Kamui can only stand there, stunned into silence. He rips out his absolute ice fusion skill again, blasting everything in sight with icy power. He vows he'll melt this cursed ice world for her, no matter what it takes. He leans in and tells her the truth. She isn't cold at all. He's pushing her to look ahead, no doubt. No hesitation, just pure confidence. Because he swears he'll always be by her side, ready to back her up no matter what. Her grip clamps down on his arm, and her glowing mark flickers faintly like it's about to ignite. Tears shimmer in her eyes as she flashes a radiant heart on her sleeve smile. Once they blew the boss away, their dungeon run finally hit the finish line. But Cheyenne snaps the vibe in half, swearing she'll protect Kamui no matter what. She chews her out for not using his first name like that's the only priority that matters. And our boy can only let out one helpless scream because the crossfire catches him again. Hinata's mind starts to glitch out, screaming that he'd rather erase his own memories than keep thinking. Kamui thrusts herself in front of Shion and declares, loud and fearless, that she'll be the one to protect him. Our boy can't help but wonder, are they seriously calling this advanced bullying now? Cheyenne snatches him right there, yelling that she wants protection too. With tears pooling in her eyes, she looks up at him and pleads, "So you're just going to walk away and leave me helpless?" He just taps her forehead and tells her to knock it off because he's done playing games with her. Cheyenne whips his head around, stunned. How did he find the boss room that easily? She asks if he can sense it, but then waves it off like it's nothing. She just tracked it down by sound. Yeah, right. She tells them the potion they just found is a once-in-a-lifetime, ultra-rare drop, pure gold. Hinata blurts, "Wait, don't you guys have the floor exploration skill?" The two S ranks can only stare back utterly, completely, and absolutely unable to speak a word. Now he can't stop asking what even is a skill to them. Their hunt for the truth slams them right back into the Kamui estate. That old man Jesus grins like he knows a secret, and you can tell by the look on his face that things are about to get wildly interesting. Hinata tells him he rushed here because he was praying the old man might know a thing or two about skills. Jizu finally nods and agrees to talk only because he can't resist for his adorable grandchild. He reveals that ages ago there were people who obsessed over what skills really are and how they work. But then he cuts in fast, telling you that's everything he's willing to spill. Hinata was completely thrown off because the old man looked like he was about to drop even more secrets. Jizu brings up marrying Kamui again, and it throws everyone into shock because this guy's got one goal and it never changes. The girls plead with their uncle, but he just won't hear a word they say. He tells you straight up that what he knows about skills can't be shared because it's a matter of national security. But if Hinata ever slid into the family, the rules would get rewritten fast. Hinata drops his gaze and finally clocks the real twist. He's been handed a choice so specific it feels like a trap. And just like that, the old man snaps, "That's it, the conversation's done." The very next day at the academy, everything keeps churning like normal, except the tension's still hanging in the air. Back in his room, Hinata grips a pen tight, and a fierce, determined smile lights up his face. Every single day, he grinds Dungeon E90, racking up a nice little fortune in potions. He sits alone, savoring that first rare drop in silence, like he's proud of every second it took to earn it. But just as he finds peace, an unseen visitor is about to crash that quiet. It's Fuji, looking like he just got knocked around by a dungeon boss for 10 brutal rounds. He shouts to Hinata and points out that his buddy looks just as drained. But Fuji practically brags that he just cleared a D-rank dungeon. Hinatanuta's jaw drops. His friend is already charging straight into a C-rank mission. Fuji just laughs it off, straight up admitting he was only there to play backup for a way stronger team. But then his words sparked a brilliant idea in Hinata like lightning. He swings the invite to his friend, and Fuji doesn't hesitate. He grins and happily accepts. That same day, Hinata frantically gets everything ready, waiting for his guest to finally arrive. He carefully sets out 2 cups of tea ready for their meeting, and squeezes in one tiny drop of his miracle restorative potion, a secret ingredient that could rocket his friend back to strength after the battle. That secret blend he learned from his mom, though the magic was probably stripped out. A sharp knock at the door erupts. His friend just pulled up. He swings the door open and flashes a bright, welcoming smile, like he's already got you hooked. Fuji bursts in with a bag of snacks like, "Thanks for everything here, have some." They sit side by side, sharing a silent, electrifying pause between 2 would-be explorers. Fuji is stunned as the tea sweeps away every last bit of his exhaustion, like it never happened. He blurts out, "Why do you care so much about my next dungeon run, Hinata?" Hinata flashes him a sweet smile and warns him, "Don't go overboard." Fuji is left absolutely speechless after that one simple act of kindness. A quiet, thankful smile bursts across his face. He takes another sip and quietly, genuinely, tells them thank you. But now Fuji finally admits he's the one losing sleep over Hinata. The very next day lands on the academy like a hush and unusually quiet Saturday. Hinata braces herself. Her next move is already in motion. He snatches up his phone. There's a message waiting, and it's already pulling him in. His face snaps into total, jaw-dropping shock. It's a message from his sister right after ages, the first one he's heard in a long, long time. That familiar, determined smile snaps across his face. She realizes 3 weeks have already gone by since he stormed out. He still remembers his sister's bright, carefree smile like it's burned into his heart. A memory that sharpens his quiet, unshakable resolve into something you can see in his eyes. He hovers over his phone, finally ready to make that call he's been dodging for weeks. His face set in stone, and he knows this is going to be a brutal fight. One sharp press, and the transfer ignites instantly. He knows if she spots his struggle, he'll never make it past that point. Now that the choice is locked in, he hurls himself toward the door, ready to leave his room. He can't forget it. She just broke down and cried the moment he left for the academy. Back then, he already knew it. His wise sister could see straight through every lie he tried to hide. She felt like dead weight, aching to take his place and be the one who carried him instead. But now he slams forward with a confident, no-turning-back decision. His resolve is ironclad. He's got to get stronger no matter what. He can't stop replaying the moment his mother wrapped him in comfort, a quiet memory that still hurts. A fierce fire lights up his eyes, like he's swearing a promise right to both of them. Because every move he makes is powered by one thing: his family.